champion!
It's been a long, hard-fought season for both teams. Both teams have been without their first-choice leaders. Both teams have shown their mettle and strength and depth to prove they're ready for this. It's the Steelers versus the Packers in the 45th Super Bowl. Yes, the 45th Super Bowl is live from Cowboy Stadium in Arlington, Texas. It's between the American Conference champions, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the National Conference champions and the official home team, the Green Bay Packers. Yes, welcome to the 45th Super Bowl. Now, this event will be the most watched sporting event of 2011. The Super Bowl isn't big, it's absolutely huge. It's roughly 1/7 of the world's population are expected to watch. Now, even if you don't know much about American football, you can enjoy our show because this is more than just a championship game.
I got a feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night.
Yes, this isn't just a championship game, it's a major event. Multi-platinum selling superstar Christina Aguilera is doing the national anthem.
Tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. Tonight's the night.
And the Grammy Award-winning, multi-platinum selling Black Eyed Peas will be doing the halftime show.
Wild and special, like oh my God, jump out that sofa.
To help make the most of the game and the events around the game, I have some quality help alongside me. With me in the studio is former Redskins and Raiders quarterback Jay Schroeder. And we have the alligator-riding daredevil Cecil Martin, who was a fullback in the NFL for the Eagles and the Buccaneers. Yes, down at the far end, we have Cecil Martin, but right next to me, you have Jay Schroeder, the man wearing the ring that he won Super Bowl 22 with the Washington Redskins. And when you guys won the Super Bowl, did it mean the same thing to everyone on the team?
It really did. We were a team that we were very cohesive as a team. It wasn't about the glory of an individual, but it was the whole team coming together, working hard, getting the ring, winning the championship, and being called world champions.
The game is played every year since 1967, the Super Bowl. So Cecil, for you, being a former player with the Philadelphia Eagles, what does it mean to you when you guys are sitting out watching the game as former players?
Let me tell you something. When we watch that game, it's all about the fact that all that blood, all that sweat, all the tears, all that hard work, it's all about getting to that game. It's all about getting what this man has right there on his finger. That's what all the work is all about. So as a former player, when we're watching the game, you know, it can be emotional on one side, and then you're just so excited because you know the emotion that those players are having right now, and we know it's going to be a great game.
And you know, one of the things that's always about the Super Bowl that stands up are the facts. Now, what are the facts that lead into the Super Bowl? What stands out for you guys?
Well, look at this one down here, number 6. 8 million pounds of guacamole eaten. That's a lot of chips being taken down here during this game, so that's huge.
Well, you know, hey, you know, and I went to University of Wisconsin, and, you know, we like to have a little fun, but 7.5 million parties in the U.S. I think there's a couple parties going on in the U.K. right now as well, you know.
And number 9, I wonder who's doing all the counting on that one. Yes. Now, over at the venue for this momentous game, we have my regular partner, Nick Halling, and our old friend, Jeff Reinbold. Now, Jeff lives in Dallas as he's the receivers coach at Southern Methodist University. And, fellas, we have 2 very good quarterbacks in this ball game, but what about the quality of the receivers?
Well, two very good receiving cores as well, Kev, as we both know. We know all about the Green Bay Packers receiving core, but my buddy Jeff here, as you already mentioned, has got a bit of a vested interest in this one because one of your former pupils has made it to the big time.
Number 88, rookie Emmanuel Sanders. You know, it's an incredible story. Here's a kid come out of Belleville, Texas. He's a rodeo cowboy as a young boy, came to SMU, and now in his first year in the National Football League has a chance to win a Super Bowl championship.
Yeah, Emmanuel Sanders, the wide receiver with the Pittsburgh Steelers, coached by Jeff Reinbold nonetheless. Jeff says nice things about Emmanuel. I wonder if Emmanuel repays the compliment.
Now, Coach Reinbold was one of your coaches at SMU, correct? He's one of our guests on Sky Sports. So how was it playing for him?
Oh, man, I love Coach Reinbold. You talk about Reinbold, I can go on all day. He definitely has a special place in my heart, one of the best coaches I've ever been coached by. And he's a big part of the reason why I'm here right now.
Well, we will tell him you said that, and good luck.
All right,
Thanks.
take care.
Oh, all this mutual love going around. I can't take it, I tell you. But I've got to ask you one thing, Jeff, because you know him better than anybody else who's around the place at the moment. How does someone like Emmanuel Sanders cope with the pressure of expectation in a game like this? Is he level-headed?
He's a level-headed kid, but this is not a situation that you can ever replicate, duplicate, anticipate. It is an unbelievable pressure cooker. I talked to him last week. On Tuesday, he'd already shut off his phone because he said, Jeff, I can't take any more phone calls. There are too many people trying to get at me. I've got relatives I haven't seen in 20 years. They're calling me, asking me for a ticket. And that's, he needs to understand, and I think he's done a good job of it this week because Coach Tomlin, he needs to understand how focused you have to be in this. This is the biggest game. You talk to Cecil, you talk to Jay, every player in the National Football League wants just this one opportunity to play for a world championship.
And that opportunity has come along. I'm sure Emmanuel Sanders is nervous. I know Jeff is nervous for him, and me, I'm just nervous. I'm nervous all the time, Kev. You know that.
I know that. You know, the great thing about that is that family that he's never heard from before all of a sudden just shows up on the scene. Now, the Steelers and the Packers have some of the most devoted fans in the NFL, but would you believe those crazy Texans held a competition to find the craziest fan in the land?
Well, there's literally hundreds, maybe even thousands of fans who've descended to North Texas in the hope of getting a ticket for the big game by hook or by crook. One way to do it is to win a crazy fan contest. That's going on right about now. And they're going to have judges for this crazy fan contest as well. The people organising it said they wanted a Brit with a bit of an nasty attitude, a bit of a Simon Cowell, and they found someone who fits the bill.
He's a broadcaster for Sky TV. It's Nick Collins!
Yeah, it's very scary. It's kind of Brett Kiesel doing opera. You know, I'm not sure how that works, really.
So Rogers and the Cheeseheads are gonna be shredded!
I'm from a country that produced Shakespeare, so I know poetry when I hear it, and that was outstanding poetry. Well, I think he should have been disqualified because players get enough tickets as it is already, and Clay Matthews will have his allocation of tickets, so for him to come up here and try and get tickets from true fans, shame on you, Clay Matthews. You should be deeply ashamed of yourself.
If you want my ball, the angel conversation, come on, baby, let me know. If you want my ball again, angel conversation, come on, baby, let me know.
Well, my country built a wall to keep these people out. And I'm going to do everything I personally can to keep these people out of the Super Bowl. I can't help noticing that there's an awful lot of Green Bay Packers fans up here trying to get freebies. Can't you people afford to buy tickets like everybody else? What's the matter with you?
Well, with only one Steelers fan up here, I wonder who's going to be getting my vote.
The winner of 2 tickets to the Super Bowl tomorrow and the craziest fan, the title everyone wants, is Crazy Fan number 3.
nice to see a Green Bay Packer win something this weekend. It's the only thing he's going to win, though, maybe, huh? Meanwhile, back to planet Earth.
I see, Nick, as usual, you are over there working overtime. But what's up with the dress code, man? You guys don't, you don't have to abide by it?
I'll tell you something, the strange thing is, the weather here has been unseasonably cold all week. I think people know about that. It's been snow, it's been ice, it's been treacherous. And we get into this controlled environment, and they say it's 72 degrees. I think you can add 15 degrees on that.
At least, especially under these lights.
But the snow, you know, it really wasn't funny earlier in the week. I mean, it was up there on the roof as well, and a lot of that snow actually just slid off the roof and fell, and it injured quite a few people, one or two very seriously as well, and there's still a couple of people in hospital. So it was a real nasty experience, and so put a bit of a dampener on the week, but thankfully everything is absolutely okay now, and that's how it should be on Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah, it's got to be about the game. And you know, the thing that everybody who plays this game, coaches this game, has a fan favorite team, they all point all year long for this one game. This is Christmas if you're a football fan.
And if you're a football player as well. The players will be coming out in just a few moments. We're going to take a very short break. Back with more build-up to Super Bowl 45 in just a couple of moments.
Where do I begin to tell the story of how great a love can be? Where do I start?
Larry, hey! Hey!
Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back in.
Zappuccino, Zappuccino.
If you accidentally slip up and go over your account limit, at Lloyds TSB, we give you until 3:30 that same day to put it right. Lloyds TSB, for the journey.
The new Citroën C4 EHDI engine uses power only when you're moving, meaning less CO2 and lower fuel costs. It's what we call positive power.
If your household's got more than one car, you could be spending more than you need to on car insurance. But don't worry. Admiral Multicar could save you hundreds of pounds because all your cars are on one policy. But we still keep each driver's no claims discount separate. So, for one premium, one renewal, one policy, go direct to admiral.com.
For every friend you introduce to Sky TV, we'll give you £50 of M&S vouchers. Each friend you introduce will get £50 of vouchers too. And they'll enjoy the same great thrilling lineup of Sky TV as you do. And since there's no limit to the amount of friends you can introduce, there's no end to the amount of vouchers you can get. That's £50 of M&S vouchers for you both when you introduce a friend to Sky TV. Ask them to call today on 08442 410 101. Sky.
At Vision Express, we'll see that you always have a spare pair, with 2 for 1 on designer glasses. Vision Express, we'll see you right.
Want to manage your money on the move? Free mobile banking from Lloyds TSB.
You never know what the day may bring. Don't let yourself look tired. New Hydra Energetic Anti-Fatigue Moisturizer recharges the skin with moisture. It helps fight the 5 signs of fatigue. It works for up to 24 hours, so your skin can keep up. New Hydra Energetic Anti-Fatigue Moisturizer from L'Oreal Paris Men Expert. When your nights are long, but you don't want your eyes to betray you. Hydra Energetic Eye Roll-On. Help revive tired-looking eyes. Look sharp. Enough said.
Keep the change.
Cheers, love.
The Vince Lombardi Trophy, named after one of the greatest coaches of all time. The pinnacle of achievement for all 32 teams. And the one accolade that defines greatness in an NFL player. Yes, and you're looking at Cowboys Stadium, the biggest high-definition screen in the world right there that you're looking at. But this stadium costs $1.2 million. And when they say the best in the world, this stadium right here is the best in the world. Hey, Nick and Jeff, you know, one of the things that stand out, these two teams met in 2009, and Ben Roethlisberger, he passed for what, 500 yards? Jim Rogers, he passed for 200 or 400 and something yards in that ball game. But since then, which one of these teams have progressed the most?
Well, for me, Kev, I guess it's a difficult one because what happened in 2009 isn't really relevant because both these defenses have just come on so well, haven't they? And I guess you have to look at someone like Mike Tomlin and just say, right, he's defense first, isn't he? But it's interesting that that's a guy with a cover two background who just looked at Dick LeBeau and his zone blitzing scheme and said, this is working, let's just go with it.
Well, you know, that's one of the great things that Mike Tomlin did. When he came into the Steelers, he didn't try and change everything. They have a culture of winning with the Steelers, and they have a culture of winning with defense. And Dick LeBeau and the zone blitz scheme, that has been the cutting edge of NFL football on defense for the last 10 years.
And of course, you talk about defense, you've got to talk about two mirror image defenses here as well. You look through that Green Bay Packer defensive coaching stuff. You got Kevin Green there, a former Steeler player. You got Darren Perry in the secondary, a former Steeler player. And of course, you got Dom Capers, former defensive coordinator as well. I mean, that's made in Pittsburgh, that Green Bay defense.
Yeah, you know, those two guys were roommates as young coaches on Bill Cowher's staff, and they sat and talked hours and hours and hours about how to play the zone blitz structure, how to be in the 3-4 and try and confuse the quarterback with bringing rushers from everywhere.
Yeah, they always say it's about the players, but this Super Bowl is definitely about the coaching chess match that's going to be going on, Kev.
Love talking about the coaches. You know that, Nick. And the coaches in this ball game, Mike Tomlin, who will be competing in the second Super Bowl in 3 years as a head coach. And on the other side, Mike McCarthy, the first guy stepping in. But, Jay, talk to us about these two guys running the Super Bowl teams.
Well, there's no question. These coaches are phenomenal. Mike McCarthy's done a great job. And as you said, Mike Tomlin's been there 4 years. This is, you know, being in the Super Bowl. Fantastic job, but the thing these guys do, they run their football teams, and everybody on that team knows these are the guys they go to. They respect them. They've earned the players' respect.
And the one thing that I see is that there's a youth movement going on in the NFL with head coaches, and that these two guys have been able to come on and have such success in a game that traditionally, from a head coaching perspective, have been for the older guys. And so there's a new regime happening.
You talk about a new regime, but what about this ball game coming in? There was always this talk about these two defenses. You have the top scoring defense in the NFL, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Green Bay Packers only allowed 8 more points in the regular season than what the Green Bay Packers did. So that means the two defensive coordinators are doing their jobs. You're talking about Don Capers with the Green Bay Packers.
Well, I can tell you this. Defense wins championships. That has not just been a cliche. That has been how it has always been. And that's what's helped both of these teams get to where they are. But you know what? It's a chess match. And those two defensive coordinators, they know how to get the best out of those players, and they're using a 3-4 defense unlike anybody else.
And what about Dick LeBeau with the Pittsburgh Steelers, a Hall of Famer?
I mean, the guy's a Hall of Fame player. He's a Hall of Fame coach. He can just flat get it done. He's been in this game for 50 years. He's seen it all. He's done it all. And the kids that he has play for him, and that's what he calls them. He calls every one of those players kids because he's been around, but he absolutely loves them, and they play hard for him.
And we see, here you got the kicker here, Sean Swisham. And, we always talk offense, defense, but let's don't forget about special teams, because special teams are a major part of winning a football game.
3 phases in the game, all right? And in this game, the biggest game of them all in Super Bowl, historically, kickers, if you can put points on the board, you have a better chance of winning the game. And I got a feeling that both of these kickers are going to be key to this game.
Let's hear from Sean Swisham, who Nick had a conversation with.
Here's the situation. 4 seconds to go. Steelers down by 2, and you've got to come out to kick that field goal. How are your emotions going to be at that situation?
Well, it certainly isn't. The act of kicking a game winner isn't new to me. The venue is obviously different. It's on a grander stage. The stakes are higher. But I'm assuming that I'll just rely on what I've always done, and that's just based on my preparation. Feel comfortable, go out there and put the ball through the uprights.
So I guess the mindset has got to be just another game, just go out and do your job.
Hey, regardless of the game or the time of the game, I still need to make my field goal.
It's been a weird season for you, hasn't it? Because if someone had said to you 6 months ago you're going to be playing in the Super Bowl, that would have been a long shot.
I think it's a long shot for anybody who plays in the NFL, especially with me being not starting the season with the team. Pretty special. I'm excited.
Have this team, have the guys really just welcomed you and embraced you?
You'd have to ask those guys. I think so. They make me feel good.
Because they're a pretty close-knit group, aren't they, here?
Yeah, it's great. It's great team atmosphere. A lot of fun to be around the guys.
What's the biggest kick you've ever made in your career?
Well, actually, I got asked this question a couple days ago, and I'll be brief with it, but it was back in high school. Made a long field goal. That was the catalyst for me to have a scholarship to play in the States. In college, and which has got me here, so it was absolutely in high school.
You seem incredibly laid back for a kicker that might have the whole world watching you at one point. Are you always this relaxed?
What choice do I have? It's what I've accepted as part of my job.
Well, good luck, and let's hope the Steelers win by 35 points and we don't have to worry about you.
I'm happy with extra points.
Well, I think we need to give Nick extra money for having interviewing that guy with that personality. But you talk about a kicker, you guys out there on the field, but they can be important in this ball game.
Well, they're very important. Let's just put it this way. Because of the Super Bowl, everybody understands what wide right means. I mean, that comes into play. I mean, it's big time.
Buffalo Bill fans,
Buffalo Bill fan.
Right
everybody understands, Kev, what wide right means, right? I mean, so kicking does come into play. Not only the kicking game for the kickers, but also the punters.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's head back over to the field and see what Nick Halling and Jeff Reinbold are into.
Yeah, just one quick word there, guys, about Sean Swisham and wide right, as Jay was saying. He's been kicking in practice. This is in warm-ups from 40 yards and has been consistently wide right. That's not a good sign.
No, it's not a good sign, and hopefully, and he's an amazing guy. Did you see how he's like he had ice in his blood when you were talking to him? But he'll try and get those bad kicks out of there. No, you got some other guys coming out on the field now.
Yeah, Mewelde Moore, the third down back for the Pittsburgh Steelers, he's out there as well. They might even get him returning kickoffs. I don't know, but he's certainly an option for Mewelde Moore. But a good pair of hands and good in pass protection.
Yeah, a good kid. He came out of Tulane, and he's a guy that gives you an awful lot. He's not a between the tackles pounded at you kind of back, but he can catch the football. He can run the ball well enough. And I think they're going to get a big dose of the run from the Steelers today.
Yeah, there's no question that Mike Tomlin wants to run the football. They talked about Rashard Mendenhall. This guy does give them the change of pace. And as I say, a specialist third down back. Good hands, knows where the first down marker is, but most important of all, especially with an offensive line that's banged up for the Pittsburgh Steelers, he's going to be there helping protect Ben Roethlisberger, and that's going to be one of the keys today.
It's going to be a big thing on it. And you watch it, and I think that one of the things that the Steelers are going to do is they're going to go to multiple receiver sets to try and get Raji substituted out of the game and get Shields, the nickel, back in, and then try and run the football so Legursky, the backup center, doesn't have to block B.J. Raji.
Well, you mentioned Rashard Mendenhall there. No question that they want to feed him the football. Had a bit of a workhorse thing going towards the end of the season, tailed off a little bit, and has done some decent stuff in the postseason without ever really ripping it up. You just wonder about the freshness of his legs, any running back's legs at this stage of the season.
Well, everybody hurts right now in the National Football League, especially a running back. They get hit so many times. But you know what? When it's a game like this, you put away the pain because you've got a chance to be a world champion. And I think Jay could tell you story after story of guys that sucked it up, and you do the extra treatments, you do everything you can to get out there and play at the highest level possible in the biggest of all games.
Yeah, it's Rashard Mendenhall needs to have a big game for the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this game, no question about it. He sat out their win 2 years ago. He was on IR. So this is a guy, as I found out when I spoke to him earlier this week, he's looking forward to shining on the big stage. So, Rashard, how much are you looking forward to this Super Bowl?
We're looking forward to it a lot, and it means a lot for this franchise and for this team, all the work we put in to be at this point, and we want to capitalize on that.
When you look at this Green Bay defense, what are you seeing in terms of their ability to stop the run?
We feel like they have a really good front seven, and on the back end as well, a very disciplined defense, and you know what I mean, they're in the right spot, so you know it's going to be on us on offense to execute.
And the game plan for Pittsburgh always seems to be Ben pulling out a few big plays here and there, but I guess you would love to be getting the ball 20, 25 times and 4 yards a carry, and you'd be quite happy with that.
Yeah, you know, whatever. You know, that'd be a great game, but you know, the game's going to tell its own tale. We want to prepare for that. Whatever happens in the game, we want to be successful and we're going to win.
Offensively, obviously, the line, you know, they're struggling with injuries. Will that increase the pressure on you to be taking care of Ben a little bit more than usual?
I don't think so. That's something we've been dealing with all year. You know, those guys on the line have been playing different positions. Guys have been in and out with different injuries. So it's a versa we faced all year, and I don't think it'll be any different in the Super Bowl.
And you personally, how would you sum up your season? Have you been happy with what you've been able to do this year?
I don't know if the happy is a word. You know what I'm saying? It's been a big accomplishment. It's been a good season, but just want to continue to grow and to work.
And is it a game that the Steelers feel they can win? Because you do go into this one as underdogs, which is quite unusual for you guys.
Yeah, for us, you know, we've had to do that throughout the seasons. For us, we feel like we can win every game, and if we do the things we need to do, we can beat anybody.
Is there any extra motivation that people are making you underdogs? Are you taking that as a motivator to prove people wrong?
I don't think so. You know, this has been like that all year. It's always like that with us. So, you know what I mean, when we win, you know what I mean, again, it'll be the same thing.
Have a good one.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Rashard Mendenhall looking confident and relaxed. But let's turn to the Green Bay Packers a little bit. We've already talked about the Pittsburgh kicking situation. Mason Crosby is out there warming up right now down on the field below us for the Green Bay Packers. Just been watching him in warm-ups, Jeff. He's looking very confident from around 45, 47 yards.
Yeah, he looks good. He's hitting the ball well. He's got great launch, and the ball's getting up fast. But I think, you know, when you look at a game like this where the teams are so evenly matched, Nick, it comes down to little things that are going to make the difference. An extra point, being, as Jay said, wide right. The kicking game takes on a tremendous magnitude in the game, and turnovers. But a kicker can solidify his legacy in this game, both in a positive and a negative sense.
Yeah, but it'll be interesting if it comes down to a battle of field goal kickers. Mason Crosby looking rock solid out there at the moment, but hey, this is just pre-game warm-ups. This doesn't count for anything. Kev, let's get back to you in the warmth of that London studio.
Oh, you're right about that, Nick. You know, the game always comes down to that big talk about the quarterback. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, their quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger, is 10-2 in the postseason. Those are quality numbers. But what does he need to do, Jay, to become 11-2 in the postseason?
Well, if he's going to become 11-2 this postseason, he's going to have to get rid of the football today, because Clay Matthews is going to be coming around that end. Green Bay is going to be going after him. If he's going to play Ben Roethlisberger-style football, hold on to the football, it could be a long day for Pittsburgh.
When you talk about him, what kind of skill level are we talking about, Cecil?
You talk about Ben Roethlisberger, you're talking about a man with a strong arm. You're talking about a guy that can move with the size of almost a tight end, you know. I mean, you're talking about a guy that is smart enough and reads defenses well enough. But when you look here, the way he is able to get the ball down the field is astonishing. And then he has the touch to be able to complete those 5 and 7 and 15 yard. And you know what? You got to have some good receivers on your side, and he's got that in a whole stable of great receivers.
You know, what is the difference for you guys between a great player and a great leader?
Oh, a great leader is the one that everybody on that team understands this. He's going to make you a better player. He may be a great player, but he's not making you better. These guys that are great leaders get out there. I mean, let's look at Aaron Rodgers. He's brought those guys along. Everybody that seems to step into that wide receiver core seems to be a great receiver, and that's because of Aaron Rodgers.
I think he has a lot of leadership. And I think that the adversity that he went through in the beginning of the year, I think obviously the team rallied around him, but the way he came back and then the way that he was able to not miss a beat at all from the standpoint of what he needed to do in order to continue to show this team that he could be the quarterback to lead them. And it's an intangible. It's not, you know, throwing the ball is physical, you know, but the mental and emotional ability to go out and deal with what he's dealt with and then continue to perform, that's special.
You know, and the thing is, he doesn't do it pretty.
No, there's no pretty in Ben Roethlisberger's game, but he is very effective at what he does. There's no question about that.
Well, before the big game, Big Ben Roethlisberger sat down with Pittsburgh Steelers legend Terry Bradshaw.
You think that you had too much success too early and you just weren't quite equipped?
I wasn't prepared for it.
Okay.
I hesitate to say it because it almost sounds like I'm making an excuse, because that's not me. I don't make excuses. But yeah, I mean, when it gets thrown to you and all of a sudden you're the man, you know the fans are. They love you and they treat you like almost like a god, like you're superhuman. So you get caught up on it.
I don't know about that. You ever been booed when you were introduced in Pittsburgh?
Not yet. I hope it doesn't happen.
No, man. That's not a good feeling. How much do you have to work on selling people on this new Ben?
I'm not trying to sell people to, you know, I'm not selling tickets to a show. I'm just trying to be me. And you can't win everybody back right away, and that's fine. I know that. I think if people start to really give me a chance and see who I am and who I'm trying to be and want to be. We all make mistakes. We know. I mean, I'm going to make mistakes in the future. We all are going to. But it's how do you bounce back from them and how do you learn from them so you don't make the same mistakes twice?
How startling was it when you found out that some of your teammates, not necessarily, came to the forefront and supported you?
Yeah, a lot of it got blown way out of proportion. Yeah, a lot, because I actually had a lot more support than I even anticipated having. And so that was great. It really feels good to have your brothers, your teammates, especially when I can admit that I wasn't the best teammate over the last couple of years.
How much did it mean to you that the Rooney family stood behind you?
To me, they're family to me. They're like my grandpa, like my father. I mean, they mean a lot. And so for them to stand by me really meant a lot. And one of the reasons that I wanted to try so hard to get back to this game for them, but also to be a better person and represent the Steeler franchise and the family. I love the city. I want to be a Steeler for life.
You can't look at that during the game. You'll hurt yourself.
I think this game, Ben, could come down to huge plays. You know,
I think it'll be higher scoring than people think.
That's what I think.
And I think, you know, we're going to have to throw the ball.
Do you ever think about, what if I lose this game?
Of course, sometimes you do. I mean, when you lay in bed at night, you think about how awesome it's been to be on the winning end of these 2 Super Bowls that I've had. And just for a second, you kind of let yourself think about what's it like if the confetti falls on you and the Packers win. I mean, you have to, because I think, for me, that motivates me not to let it happen. So you don't dwell on it, but I think you have to think about it for a second.
I couldn't imagine losing one. Thank God I never did. You're going to break every record. I want you to break every one of them. I want you to get this Super Bowl. I want you to win a 4th, and I want you to get a 5th, and I think you will. What do you think about these pictures? That's pretty neat, isn't it?
It is. It's awesome. It's an honor for me to be, you know, up there with you. That was a long time ago. I thought you wore a leather helmet. I thought you wore a leather helmet. I didn't know that you had that.
Wait a minute, that's not funny. Who's over there laughing? I'm just telling you, while you're sitting here, it's important that I have a relationship with you.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it works, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
Ben Roethlisberger, a changed man?
Well, I hope so. That's the way I want to leave it. I hope so. You know, we want to see everybody do the right thing, and he's trying to do the right things.
Yeah, certainly seems to have really learned some lessons, and a little humility doesn't hurt anybody once in a while, does it? Right, now let's turn our attention to the Green Bay Packers and their receiving game. Everyone talks about Aaron Rodgers and Greg Jennings, and Donald Driver's the guy that's been there forever. But that is a quartet of weapons they've got there. And one guy I think you overlook at your peril is Jordy Nelson. What does he bring to this offense?
That's a great point, Nick. Jordy Nelson is kind of the wild card of this offense. He's 6'3", 217-pound kid that is big and physical and runs better than people give him credit for. He has the ability he has what we call sneaky speed. He can get deep on you, and he's physical and will be able to go inside and catch balls inside.
And of course, because of the scheme that they run, as we look at the stats for Jordy Nelson, one of the things he benefits from is that Driver does all the tough underneath stuff. Greg Jennings tends to draw the double teams. This guy will usually draw single coverage.
Yeah, and it's a tough matchup because he is 6'3", and he's 217 pounds, and he's not a blazer, but he's a strider, and he can get past you if you guess. And I think you'll see Aaron Rodgers use some double moves, some pump fakes to try and get guys to bite and get Jordy Nelson on a deep ball.
Yeah, and obviously at 6'3", he's got a huge size advantage over those Pittsburgh defensive backs.
Yeah, and you know what? One of the things you tell a quarterback is throw a ball the guy can catch. And Jordy Nelson has great, what we call catching range, the ability to catch balls off of his body.
Well, a receiver is only as good as a quarterback that's throwing him the football. And, of course, Aaron Rodgers of the Green Bay Packers has proved himself this season to be one of the very best. Now, prior to the Super Bowl, our colleague at Fox, Pam Oliver, caught up with him for his thoughts looking ahead to the game.
I'm a football fan first and foremost before I even was a player. So, I watched the Super Bowls and I watched, the stuff they said on the podium after the game and dreamt about being in that position.
The moment for 27-year-old Aaron Rodgers is almost here. The Packers quarterback has surprised and surpassed nearly all expectations.
You still just approach it as a job, or is it a job plus carrying the legacy?
I look at it as a job plus more of a responsibility. This is a special place to play. It's a privilege. You look at the legends who are remembered here. They all had a lot of success. They all won championships.
For all the skill Rodgers shows on the field, he admits to being less adept at handling stardom.
As much as I am kind of the face of the franchise as a quarterback is often made to be, I just like being one of the guys. I mean, I've never been one for the spotlight. I enjoy my anonymity when I can have it and my privacy. At the same time, anytime I can bring light to places and people who've been influential in my life, I think that's great. I'm a small-town guy. I've always been a small-town guy. Chico's a great place to be from.
We haven't had players or athletes that's been on this stage before, and now we look back and go, wow, he's made it, he's done it, and to see that happen to this degree is just impressive. We all now get to take that path with him on the way to the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl.
What are you most proud of about where Aaron is concerned?
You just hear of things when people get in that limelight that they start to change. And, the kid that I see and I hear has not changed. And I think that's the thing that I'm most proud about.
Out of high school and before he landed at Cal, Rodgers spent a year at Butte Community College after not a single Division I school showed interest.
He's always had people not get him at first. I think more than anything, everybody says, did you teach him this, did you teach him that? The really thing I think we did here is give him the confidence to say, you know what, I can do this. And this is where he first found out, I think, when he first felt that, hey, I can do something special. I can be a leader. I can play at a high level.
Do you ever think, why me? How me?
I do. It's almost like I'm in a dream. Someone needs to wake me up here and realize, what an awesome opportunity this is. But at the same time, I think all of us are kind of so dialed in right now as what we're doing. We don't realize the enormity of this game and the effects, that a win could have.
He's come of age, no question about that, whatever happens in this Super Bowl. And it's stating the obvious, Jeff, of course, but the Green Bay Packers are not going to win this Super Bowl by running the football. If they're going to win this game, they're going to win it on the arm and the accuracy of Aaron Rodgers and how he shows a bit of patience against that endless puzzle of the Pittsburgh zone blitz.
Well, I think, too, and he's got to be able to keep plays alive, and he's been able to do that with his feet. Aaron Rodgers is a great athlete. People don't give him credit for his athleticism. He's not the fastest guy, but he's mobile. He can get out of the pocket, keep the play alive. And when you do that against a zone blitz team, there are voids in the zones.
Yeah, there's definitely, we've seen this consistently against the Steelers and against the Packers for that matter, that a quarterback that can just tuck it in and read where the coverage is, just tuck it in and run for himself, they can move the chains on a fairly consistent basis.
Well, that's one of the problems. You've got minimal players underneath in the zones. You add players to the rush, subtract them from the coverage, and when the quarterback gets out of the pocket, there are not only voids in the zone, but there are opportunities to run the football.
Can this Packers offense win one-dimensionally, which I think realistically they're probably going to be? We can't expect too much from the running game.
Well, I don't think they can win being one-dimensionally. I think they've got to be smart, and they've got to take their shots when they get their shots. They've got to use the screen game. That'll be their run game. The short passing game will be their run game. And you got to hope that you can at least, if they can run for 70 yards against the Steelers, I think they've got a chance.
It's interesting. I'm looking at the inactives right now, and Quinn Johnson, the lead blocking fullback, who's done such a terrific job for them. He's inactive today. I mean, either there's an injury that we don't know about, or that really is Mike McCarthy sending out a message. We're not going to be doing too much lead blocking against the Pittsburgh Steelers. If they're going to win this game, the Green Bay Packers, they're going to do it on the arm of Aaron Rodgers. Kev.
Nick, and you're talking about Aaron Rodgers over here, but when Aaron Rodgers walks to the line of scrimmage, what is his main concern?
His main concern is twofold. Number one, he's going to find out how many guys are in that box, how they're spread out, where his hot read is, his blitz protection, so he can get rid of the football in a hurry. Once that ball is snapped, he's got that figured out. He's going to find that matchup. And a lot of times, as he said, they're going to find Jordy Nelson because he's going to be a guy underneath for him today.
Yeah, and then there's a couple other things he's looking for. He's got Harrison coming off that edge. You better know where that man is. And he also got Troy Polamalu, so he's going to be worried about some hair, too. He want to make sure that he understands where those two men are. Now, he's got a great offensive line back. He's got a great offensive line to protect him. But Troy Polamalu, that man right there is all over the place. He will blitz from the inside. He will blitz from the outside. He's going to jump over the offensive line. And he's going to drop back in the coverage and try to get interceptions. That man is a playmaker. And under the biggest lights, he is going to play like he has never played in his life.
And the other thing about Troy Polamalu, this year he has been named the Defensive Player of the Year in the National Football League. And Nick had the opportunity to speak to this main Pittsburgh Steeler.
First of all, Troy, we see your name on the injury report. How is your health?
My health is well, thank God.
Yeah, you're going to be 100% for the game.
Well, at this point, nobody's 100% in football, but I'm as good as everybody else, I would think.
What did being named Defensive MVP of the league mean to you?
I think it meant a whole lot to my teammates, quite honestly, more than anything. It's a tremendous honor, obviously, given the amount of players that are out there. I think other guys are more deserving. A guy on the other end of the ball, Clay Matthews, James Harrison, might be the best candidate. Ed Reed, Julius Pepper, all these guys are great candidates. I think they're probably more worthy of the award than myself.
So when you see this offense of the Green Bay Packers, what are you seeing?
An excellent, efficient offense that makes a lot of big plays. They get good leads so their defense can open up a little bit.
Is their running game something that you should be concerned about at all, do you think?
Teams that have been successful against us have been more balanced than anything. So yeah, that's always our first concern.
And what about your game? Because I mean, you've been relatively quiet during the playoffs. Has that been by design, or has it just turned out that way?
We're winning games. If I'm not hurt, I'm happy as long as we're winning games.
It's very much a team thing, isn't it? I mean, Harrison might be a superstar, you might be a superstar, but it's the other guys, as you say, they've got to do their jobs too. That seems to be the philosophy of this defense.
It's the ultimate team sport. Takes so many elements that go into making a play, and that's from pressure to the quarterback to great coverage for making sacks to the right call, the right game situation, the right personnel and offense. There's all these different factors that go into making plays.
And this is getting old hat for you now, this Super Bowl. I mean, this is 3 in 5 years, whatever it is. You getting bored of it yet?
Oh, absolutely not.
And many more to come, hopefully.
God willing.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Troy. Yeah, you can't get bored at winning a Super Bowl, can you? And Troy Polamalu has 2 rings, definitely wants more, but he's been quiet in the playoffs, and he didn't like that question. I said, was that by accident or design? Do you think he's 100%?
I don't think he's 100%. I think his Achilles is worse than he lets on, but he's a warrior. He's going to go out there and play. And Cecil said it. Big players make big plays in big games, and this is a big game.
And nobody bigger, of course, than James Harrison 2 years ago with that 100-yard interception return just before half-time against the Arizona Cardinals in Super Bowl 43. This isn't a guy who plays with a chip on his shoulder, Jeff. This is a guy who lives with a chip on his shoulder. He's always moaning about something.
It's not a chip, it's a boulder on his shoulder. and you know what, he's a great story because here's a 3-time loser. He's been cut 3 times. And if it wasn't for NFL Europe, he may not be playing, but he found a system that suits him. He's not a big guy. He's thick and strong, but he's not tall. He's not a prototypical linebacker. He doesn't fit the profile, but he is a dynamite rusher off the edge.
Yeah, here's the look at the run back when he dropped in coverage. And this is what that Dick LeBeau zone blitz is all about. Where does Harrison go? They assumed Arizona, and Kurt Warner said this, they thought he was going to come on the blitz, and Warner literally didn't see him coming because he dropped, and that's what a zone blitz will do to you, and it works for Green Bay as well. Look at that interception B.J. Raji had in the playoffs against the Chicago Bears. I think you've got to account for these guys at all times, because that's the problem when you deal with these zone blitzing defenses. You don't know who's going to be where.
Well, it changes the quarterback's reads, and you know what happens is the quarterback stands there and holds the ball because he wants to be sure before he pulls the trigger. And if you hold the ball against that pass rush, you're going to spend a lot of the time looking up at the big screen.
Yeah, no question about it. And Harrison out there just warming up, and his matchup with Chad Clifton, I think, is going to be a very interesting one. Kev, what do you reckon?
Well, I think we're going to go for a break right now, but we're going to keep it here on Sky Sports HD1 and in standard definition on Sky Sports 1, because we have the Black Eyed Peas at halftime and Christina Aguilera doing the national anthem. But after the break, we have the team introductions.
What hit the Mississippi Gulf Coast was a natural disaster.
There is a house in New Orleans. They call the rise.
The flooding of New Orleans was a man-made catastrophe. We're dying down here.
In God, I know I'm one.
You can't stay here, Daddy.
I married a goddamn musician.
Get a job, goddammit.
I'm gonna have it, all right? A lot of people still missing. A lot of people want to be missing.
So this is how it works. Somebody wins, somebody loses.
I just want my city back.
Well, I knew you'd come back. Yeah, I knew you'd never leave.
Treme starts Friday, 18th of February on Sky Atlantic HD, channel 108. Let the stories begin.
True beauty comes from within. It's a DuraTalk TDCi engine that gives you effortless performance and low emissions. New Ford Mondeo, with our most advanced diesel engines ever.
I will crush. No one else has such power. What's this? Paddy Power Games has 150 games. There can't be that many. Blackjack, roulette, deal or no deal, Monopoly slot. The War of the World, Rainbow Riches with big winners. New players get a welcome bonus of up to £200. Why? Evil fist, very painful.
With 150 games, choose your thrill at Paddy Power Games.
When it's planes in the sky for a chain of supply, that's logistics. When the parts for the line come precisely on time, that's logistics. A continuous link that is always in sync, that's logistics. There will be no more stress 'cause you've called UPS, that's logistics.
And it is shocking. What do you say if you're the Steelers?
This is serious stuff. This team is in a funk.
He just took it away from Rodgers, and the game is over. What a way for it to end. Snap to Rodgers. Looking around. Rainbows left side. Got Jennings. Touchdown! The Packers will get a win in Philadelphia.
And the give off the right side. Mendenhall, he breaks it through. He's at the 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10. He scores a touchdown. The Pittsburgh Steelers. They're tough to beat at Heinz Field. And this game is over.
And
Pittsburgh Steelers go 3-0.
The Packers have hung on. They have defeated the Minnesota Vikings.
Touchdown, Pittsburgh. Hines Ward fights his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Heath Miller. Pittsburgh now 4-1. Welcome back, Big Ben.
And the Packers defense has painted a Picasso, shutting out the New York Jets.
Touchdown, and the Steelers have prevailed in Baltimore.
The Green Bay Packers tie the Chicago Bears atop the NFC North Division.
Intercepted by Troy. Touchdown, Polamalu. Pittsburgh now 10-3.
I think the Packers just took the fight to them, and they're one win away from the playoff berth.
And the rout is on in Cleveland. Playoff-bound Pittsburgh 41. The Cleveland Browns 9.
Touchdown! Packers have the lead. Cutler shotgun, throws, middle, intercepted. The Packers are playoff bound. The swing of the right leg and the kickoff here in Philadelphia. Rodgers swings right side, got his man, touchdown. Rolling right, throws end zone, touchdown, touchdown. It's going to come down to the Green Bay defense. Intercepted. Wild card dagger.
Touchdown, 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 Todd Heap. Then the ball comes out. Pittsburgh ball. Throws to the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. The pass will be intercepted. He fires for the goal line. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. Flacco under center, drops the ball. Pittsburgh ball. He's in. Yes, it is the Steelers. Touchdown. Up to the AFC Championship game.
Throws the left sideline.
Intercepted.
All the way to the touchdown. Steps up, scrambles, takes it to the right side, down to the end zone. Touchdown. Right flat, got to him, turns to the end zone. He's in. Packers to the championship.
Talk about tough. This is a tough performance by the black and gold. And this crowd is smelling blood in the water.
Diving for the pylon. Touchdown. Green Bay 14, Chicago nothing. 1 quarter away from the Super Bowl.
He's going to throw it, and a diving grab, and that'll be a first down. The Pittsburgh Steelers are headed to Dallas, Texas.
Throws it over the middle. Intercepted. It is Green Bay all the way to Super Bowl 45.
Wow, that was nice. Now, this is the 45th Super Bowl. Now, you just seen what the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Green Bay Packers have been through to get this far. The biggest event in American football, the biggest event in continental North America, and one of the biggest sporting events there is, period. Okay, let's take a look at the Packers' route to get here. And you look at the Green Bay Packers, for the season, it looks like a roller coaster. You have up and down periods. There's really no consistency until you get to the end of the season. And at the end of the season, they became the first team ever to beat the first seed, the second seed, and the third seed to get to the Super Bowl. But in saying that, Cecil, they only have 2 players with Super Bowl experience. Where does that matter the most?
It doesn't matter at all. You got 2 guys on that field that can probably add, some type of leadership from the standpoint of having some experience. But I've said it and I'll say it again. Sometimes getting to the Super Bowl is about when you get hot. It's not about who's the best team, because when it comes down to those last 2 teams, you are the 2 best teams. But the Green Bay Packers became hot at the right time. And then they just continue to grind. They continue to believe in themselves. And they continue to play good football and get better every single week. And that's why they're here. So 2 people being in the Super Bowl, that don't mean anything. Being hot means more.
Okay, the Pittsburgh Steelers, here's an outfit. Remember, Ben Roethlisberger did not play the first 4 games of the season. The Steelers went 3-1 without him, and then Ben came back, and they went 3-2 with him. But then the Steelers started to get it together. Jay, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they have 25 players with Super Bowl experience. Is that all about being an advantage?
Well, I think it's an advantage just for a preparation standpoint, but I think the biggest key for the Steelers this year was that first 4 games without Big Ben, because they went 3-1. They beat some good football teams. They beat Atlanta, and they beat the Tennessee Titans. And, they beat some good football teams to allow them to have a run late in the season.
We always, talk about the AFC. It's always a talk about the New England Patriots, the Indianapolis Colts. But the Pittsburgh Steelers have been to the Super Bowl 7 times. This is their 8th time. They've won 6 Super Bowl titles. So aren't the Pittsburgh Steelers the toast of the AFC? They have more Super Bowl titles than any football club.
Yeah, but every year stands on its own. You know what I mean? 25 guys haven't been to the Super Bowl. Yeah, they're the toast of the town because they're in the Super Bowl. But at the end of the day, you got to get to the dance to be the toast, and they are the toast right now.
Okay, I was with Kevin Green as our special guest at the Georgia Dome as we watch the Rams edge the Titans in Super Bowl 34. Now, Nick worked with him covering NFL Europe, but now this former Steeler is going against his old team as the Packers linebacker coach.
I don't know if I call you Kevin Green, former Pittsburgh Steeler. We shouldn't really mention that around here, should we?
No, you know what? I had a lot of good memories there. I had a great time, but make no mistake, I'm a Green Bay Packer outside linebacker coach, and that's where my focus is. But I had some fun times at Pittsburgh, absolutely.
How are you enjoying coaching? Because that's a different world, isn't it?
Well, you don't get beat up quite as much. But, you know, I'm enjoying it. I mean, I've made the analogy before. It's closest to the fire that you can get. You know, for 15 years, I danced in the middle of that flame. And this is where I'm standing beside the fire, and I'm kind of getting warm. So.
And is Clay Matthews as good as he is because of the good coaching that he's getting from the guy who was the master of the business?
Well, he's a good kid, and he wants to do well, and he listens very, very well. So he's done good. He's become a true pro early in his career, and that's a credit to him.
We know his bloodline, of course, but I mean, what kind of things have you been able to teach him? Because you were, and still are, the leader in outside linebackers with sacks.
Well, I was lucky enough to get him as a rookie. So when you get a rookie, I mean, they pretty much have a clean slate. So pretty much whatever a coach imparts on that slate is going to take. So the good thing about Clay is he came in with no, pre-existing notions about how to play outside linebacker at this level, and so I was able to show him exactly how I think something needs to be done, or this play needs to be played this way. Teach him those fundamentals and technique about this position that worked for me as a player, and he's listened. So.
How difficult was it for you when you lost Brad Jones? I mean, your heart must have sunk when Brad went down.
I mean, yeah, Brad Jones. I mean, I love him. He's a good player. But we've had other people step in for Brad, and Frank Zombo stepped in, and when Zombo went down, Eric Walden stepped in and has played extremely well. So I've really been blessed with a good group of kids that listen, and that they want to do well, they want to work hard and be productive. So.
But usually when you go down to the second guy and then even the third guy, there's got to be a drop-off. With your guys, there doesn't seem to have been any kind of drop-off at all. They may even be better now than they were at the start of the season.
They're good kids. They're good kids. They have a good heart, and they want to listen. I mean, I think they probably see that, I played this position and I was pretty good at it. And if you listen to me, you're going to be good at it too, and so. And they're buying into the technique and fundamental that I'm teaching them, because the only thing I know, it was successful for me and it's working for them. So they're good kids with good hearts, and I really love them. So.
And I must admit, I look at these two defensive schemes and I'm thinking that they are mirrors of each other. They're more or less exactly the same scheme. Am I right, or is that too simplistic?
Well, we do have some tweaks that they don't have. They play things differently than we play. So there's some similarities, but I think there's some subtle differences as well. So.
What are those differences?
No, not about to. Come on now, that's game plan stuff. So.
You got a few surprises lined up.
Well, I'm sure they do too. I mean, I'm sure that they're going to tweak their defense or somehow so that. To give our offensive line and Aaron Rodgers a different look. I mean, I think that's just part of the deal. So.
And what would it mean to you to wear a Super Bowl ring?
I mean, it's why I played the game, for 15 years. That's why I'm ultimately back in coaching, to get that one thing that has eluded me for so long. I mean, it'd be great. So.
Wish you the best of luck.
Right on, Nick. Thank you.
They talk about Clay Matthews. Clay Matthews was the runner-up for the Defensive Player of the Year, and he's working with Kevin Green. But a lot of people won't remember Kevin Green, the player.
I do. That brother chased me for a long time. I mean, if you want a throwback of what Clay Matthews used to be, it was Kevin Green. Except he did it in a Pittsburgh uniform, and now he's coaching for the Green Bay Packers. The guy was phenomenal coming off the edge, used his speed, used his athletic ability, and that's what he's got in Clay Matthews today.
Hey, Nick, Kevin Green, he seemed to be kind of calm, but I guess you're not close enough where he was going to let you in on any of those secrets, though, huh?
I tried, Kev. I tried, but he wasn't going to fall for that. Kevin likes this reputation as being a bit of a wild man. Deep down, he's quite a studious, thoughtful, and highly intelligent guy. You can't be a coach and be a wild man, certainly not an assistant coach. And for me, Clay Matthews was going to be a great player regardless of who coached him. But that partnership, Green and Matthews, it's a match made in heaven, isn't it?
Well, you know, and it is what you want a young player to have in front of him, and that's a guy who understands the position because he played the position. He knows what goes on. He knows how they're going to try and block you. He knows how to deal with the back when the back comes to cut you. He knows all the little tricks of the trade that really you can only get by playing the game.
And he's dealing with the bare bones at the moment. This 3-4 scheme, you've got to have pressure from your outside linebackers. We know Matthews can do it, but I tell you what, Eric Walden does not make the cut. He is not going to play today, so Frank Zombo, they're hoping he's 100%. If he's not, that's definitely going to be a bit of a problem for the Green Bay Packers. But Kevin Green is doing a terrific job for them.
All right, Nick, good job that you guys are doing over there. But besides you guys being celebs, there's a lot of celebs in the stadium. We see Cameron Diaz and A-Rod for the New York Yankees. Ashton Kutcher is, also enjoying himself at the game, as is Toby. There's Ashton Kutcher right there.
Yeah.
And, I guess all the celebs come out. You got the big game, all the
everybody
the
there.
celebs,
Everybody coming out.
Make sure they
Where Demi at, though? I ain't see Demi in there, though. Ashton in the game without Demi?
She might be hiding, man. She might be she might be hiding. Well, we know that this game is in a dome stadium. Greg Jennings of the Green Bay Packers in 12 career games in Dome Stadium, 7 times he's had over 100 yards receiving. He spoke with Nick.
Greg, you're kind of looking like a guy who's had enough of this hoopla already.
I'm ready for the game. Obviously we were able to get back on the field yesterday, get back into our element. We came down here to play football, so, but at the same time, this is a part of it. So you got to fulfill all obligations while you're down here, but definitely want to be more football oriented.
I guess you've seen this kind of stuff before on TV, but I mean, can anything prepare you for actually being right in the middle of this kind of zoo?
I don't think anything can really prepare you. I think the only experiences have gone through it before, and this is the first time. So hopefully the next time we'll be more prepared and know what to expect a little bit more.
I saw you had a smile on your face when you heard that you're playing on turf and the roof is closed, and that field for you is going to be perfect. And for a timing offense like this, is that a big advantage?
Definitely. Being able to play on the fast surface, a controlled environment, not having to worry about the outside elements, things like that. There are a lot of things that come into play when you're playing outside, but once you close the roof and put a team inside, you're free of mind of all the outside elements that can possibly become a distraction.
And how does this West Coast offense work? I mean, the play is called. Let's say it's your number called, and you draw on double coverage. What does Aaron do then? Will he still try and force it to you, or will he check down? How does it work?
Well, it's the way we kind of go about it. We try to exploit matchups, and if my number's called, I'm doubled. Hopefully he still comes to me. No, I'm joking. He's trying to find the open guy. It's a kind of a triangle read offense, so there's progressions that you can go through, and makes it. You have to be a good quarterback to get the ball out of your hands and make good plays and make good decisions and be decisive. And fortunately for us, we have one.
And when you look at this Steelers defense, as good as it is, it does give you the opportunity for one-on-one matchups on the outside, doesn't it?
It does. We've seen some things on film that we feel like we can exploit. Obviously, it's an understatement saying that they're a good defense. They're one of the best defenses in this league. That's why they're here. That's why their team has gotten as far as they've gotten. But at the same time, we have a good defense too, and that's why we've gotten as far as we've gotten because of the defensive play. But from an offensive standpoint, you study, you look at things that you can try to take advantage of, and that's what we're trying to do.
And you saw the old guy, Brett Favre, played under him, and when Aaron got his chance, have you in any way been surprised at how far he's progressed?
Not at all. He prepared himself for this moment to take over at the helm, and he's done an outstanding job in this preparation. He's matured over the years. He's developed even more leadership skills day to day. And you know, when you're at that position, you have to have those tools, those skill sets. You can't really develop them. They're either natural or you don't have them. So he has it, and he's been putting it to use.
I'm going to put you on the spot. Are you getting a touchdown on Sunday?
I better get a touchdown on Sunday. You know, I really don't control whether I get a touchdown or not, but I'm going to do everything in my power to get one.
We wish you the best of luck.
Appreciate it.
He expects to get a touchdown. He should get some single coverage in this game. I think he could be a potential MVP. What do you think of this guy?
I think the guy's got a chance. He's, you know, a 5-year guy. He's right at the peak of his career. And it's interesting. His attitude kind of mirrors the attitude of the Packers all week. They feel confident. McCarthy was almost smug, maybe not arrogant, but smug in his press conferences this week. And I think the entire Packer offense feels that way.
Well, 2 years ago, of course, Larry Fitzgerald was as good a receiver as there was in the game. The Pittsburgh Steelers kept him quiet for 3 quarters. In the 4th quarter, he exploded. Can they keep Greg Jennings quiet?
Well, I don't know. You know, again, it's one of those deals where it depends on how they're going to attack him. How many personnel, what kind of personnel is on the field. If the Packers go to a bunch of receivers on the field, then it's going to be tougher because if there's only 2, you can roll the coverage to Jennings, you can pound on him on the line, and then have a guy over the top, and that'll take him out of the game or make it tougher for him. But if they go to multiple sets and now they can't do that, they can't double over there, it's going to be an opportunity for him to have a day.
Interesting to see how much Dick LeBeau decides to play with nickel defense, which is certainly alien to the 3-4. No question about that, but they've got to do something about Greg Jennings. Kev.
There's no question about that at all, Nick. But let's have a look at the stats for both these teams and see how they compare coming into Super Bowl 45. Cease, what do you see here?
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, one thing that I definitely see is that the Green Bay Packers are 5th in total yards defense. And I think that's, I mean, look, we continue this cliche about defense. You know, you got both these teams with a 3-4 defense. They're both playing really well, but that's the thing that stands out to me.
What about you, Jay?
Well, the number one thing, you have the Green Bay defense first in takeaway and interceptions right there. Pittsburgh offense is 5th. Something's going to have to give. Big Ben's going to have to be very careful with the football today where he throws it.
Jeff, now we flip over to the other page. We see the Green Bay's offense and we see the Pittsburgh defense. What jumps out at you?
Well, here's the big thing that we have it highlighted right there. Pittsburgh's the #1 running team in the NFL. Green Bay, 24th out of 32 teams. I don't expect Green Bay to even try to run the football a whole lot. They're going to throw it in there a little bit with some draws, some different things like that. But they're going to be here because of the arm of Aaron Rodgers today. They're going to throw it.
Okay, the teams from the Super Bowl 45 are about to enter the stadium. Let's go back over and join Nick and Jeff at Cowboys Stadium.
Well, I reckon we're about 20 minutes or so from kickoff, and the atmosphere really starting to build up here at Cowboys Stadium. Excuse me while I turn, just have a look, and yeah, there's not too many spare seats in the house, and it's been an interesting one for me, Jeff, because the 2 teams that travel, they'll bring their fans, are the Packers and the Steelers, and that battle for tickets and that battle for home field advantage, if you like, is going to be interesting. I don't think there is one here.
No, and you know what? It's interesting when a second ago they said, stand on your feet and get loud, and the stadium exploded, and I was shocked at the number of terrible towels that started to spin around this place.
Well, you're going to see a few terrible towels any moment now because the Pittsburgh Steelers are coming out. And when they get through, this is going to be amazing. It really is. You will hear a wall of sound. You can see the players just walking through there.
That feeling, there's Emmanuel, that feeling that they have as you're walking through that tunnel, into that explosion of sound as you come out, the sound and the light and the smoke. It is an incredible, incredible experience. And one of the challenges these guys are going to do is early in the game, they've got to keep their emotions to a minimum and try and play as normal a football game as you can play with all of this.
And that's surely where it's advantage Pittsburgh, because they've been here and done it. Let's get over to the stadium PA for the official player introductions.
How about this franchise in their black and gold? 6-time Super Bowl champions. This team's a throwback, smash mouth. They don't run around you, they run over you. This trip to Dallas wasn't supposed to happen this season. but it did for an 8th time. Maybe anything less is unacceptable from a town built on steel, fueled by a passionate nation, where the word terrible is a good thing. Veteran leaders with experience on the big stage, a quarterback looking for redemption, a defense thick as a steel curtain, a mission for ring number 7. Once again, the black and gold. Once again, the AFC champions. Watch out, because here come those Pittsburgh Steelers.
There's number 7, their quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger. The man in control of the team that won 12 games during the regular season. They beat the Ravens, they beat the Jets, and here they are. One of the most storied franchises in history. The Green Bay Packers' late season surge has put them one victory away from yet another world title.
Let me offer you my 2 bits worth about this bunch right here. This team took the hard way. They took the long road. Toughness defines their season. Expectations? Well, when you're from a city named Titletown, odds are they're pretty high. These guys were all but forgotten midway through the season. Just one way. The only way into the playoffs was to win. And that's just what they did. Quarterback who refused to believe the hype. Veterans who knew they had one more in them. Players who never, ever quit. And a city hungry for another title. That's what makes champions. These are the NFC champions. These are the Green Bay Packers.
They're the number 6 seed in the NFC, but they don't play like it. They've traveled a long road to get here. When we return on the Focus Rally America pre-kick show, Christina Aguilera with our national anthem.
Well, that is just amazing. What an atmosphere, Jeff.
God, I love this game. You gotta love this game.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Finally, the talking is going to get to stop. But talking about talking, there was an awful lot of that done on Media Day last Tuesday. And our reporter, Lacey Randall, had this report.
We're here at Media Day for Super Bowl 45. I'm surrounded by 3,000 of my closest friends from around the world. We're about to check out what the Packers have to say. But this is my very first time at Cowboy Stadium, and I'm a little bit excited. Let's go find out what everyone's talking about. Mason, this is my very first media day.
Okay.
Now, has anything prepared you that you can help me out on how to handle this?
Man, this is my first one too. This is great. I don't think I've seen this many media people in one spot. So it's exciting, but I think you just got to take a deep breath and just let it all come to you.
Has anything prepared you for this?
Well, yes, just the regular season, how we prepare, how the media come and talk to us at our lockers. But obviously this is a bigger stage with more media coverage and wow.
So far, so good. My very first media day is going great. I've gotten a lot of tips from a lot of guys who have never done this before and from some old veterans. But now I'm really ready for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ike, you've definitely been here a few times. How do you stay focused the week with all of this going on, especially media day today?
You don't want to be that guy, like Coach T always say. You don't want to be the guy, especially in this time, especially with a lot of media around. You don't want to do nothing to hurt the team or burn the team. Just trying to stay focused. Like I say, this never gets old.
Emmanuel, it's rookie year, you're headed to the Super Bowl, you're a Texas boy, you went to school right here in Dallas. Is there anything that could be better than this moment?
No, it's not. I couldn't ask for a better situation. To have an opportunity to play in Dallas, where I played college football there for 5 years, in the biggest stadium, in the NFL, on the biggest stage, I'm blessed.
That's it for Super Bowl 45 Media Day, and that was our look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. This has been an amazing experience, especially for someone it was their first time. I can't believe how close you can get to the players. The next time you see either of these teams, they're going to be on the field right behind me.
Wow, and you know what? It's interesting how much more informative those interviews were that she got than Nick.
Yeah. But hey, that's what Lacey Peterson does. And you know what? They did look really exciting, and I think that both sides, no matter how many times they've been there, hey, they're excited.
Okay, let's go back over to the stadium and join the people.
And welcome back to the Focus Rally America pre-kick show on Fox. As a Hall of Fame running back, Walter Payton was one of the greatest football players that has ever graced the game. As a humanitarian, Sweetness brought the same determination and effort that made him unparalleled on the field. In his honor, the NFL Walter Payton Man of the Year Award annually honors one player's off-the-field community service, as well as playing excellence. This year's finalists are Nnamdi Asomugha. The four-time Pro Bowl cornerback of the Oakland Raiders runs a foundation that supports women and children in Nigeria, as well as funding a college tour and mentoring program. Israel Idonije, the dominant defensive lineman of the Chicago Bears, created a program designed to encourage economically disadvantaged students here as well as internationally. And Madieu Williams, the hard-hitting safety of the Minnesota Vikings. Madieu created a Center for Global Health that addresses public health issues in Maryland and Sierra Leone, where he was born. Each of these three distinguished finalists, in his own way, embodies what Walter Payton stood for on and off the field.
And now, to present the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Award, Walter Payton's two children, Jarrett and Brittany Payton.
For his outstanding community service, we are proud to announce the winner of the 2010 Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Award, Madieu Williams of the Minnesota Vikings. Madieu in the Persian Gulf visiting U.S. service members, but he has a special message.
It's a tremendous honor to win the award named after Walter Payton, one of the greatest men to ever play in the National Football League. I'm sorry I couldn't be there to accept the award, but it's an even greater honor to be here in Iraq with the 4th Infantry Division and Task Force Iron Horse on a Goodwill tour, watching the Super Bowl with our troops.
Go Packers! Go Steelers! Ladies and gentlemen, in Son of Beautiful Country, one of the stars of the hit show Glee, Leah Michelle.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, God shed His grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. From sea to shining
And now, to honor America, 5-time Grammy Award winner, Christina Aguilera.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, what so proudly we watched at the twilight's last streaming, and the rocket's red glare, their bombs bursting in that gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of
Well, anytime the singing stops and the planes go overhead, you know it's nearly time for kickoff. Spine-tingling stuff here in Texas.
It's been a great lead-in. Now let's have a great football game.
Absolutely. The big question is, of course, who's going to win this game? I've got no idea. Jeff's got even less idea. But I've been around Dallas this week asking a few people who might have an idea.
I'm here with legendary Christian Okoye, and I have one quick question. Who is your pick for Sunday's game?
My pick, Pittsburgh, of course. I'm an AFC guy, so I got to pick them.
I think the things that Green Bay has been able to overcome and do offensively is going to allow them to score enough points that will come out of this game victorious, and everybody with a cheese head on will be happy.
I played for the Steelers. Maybe I might be rooting for them. Okay.
On Saturday night, I have to call each team, call the guys that I know on each team, and I'll listen to what they say. If they say that they've been out, boy, Michael, I love your city of Dallas. I'm going to put a little X by their name. But if they say, man, I can't wait to get in that stadium and play some football, then I'll put a check by their name. And then I'll count up the X's and the checks, and who has the most X's, I'm going with the other team.
I think the Steelers and their experience is going to be just enough for them to beat the Packers in a very great game, 21-17.
I'm kind of in favor of the Packers. I think they have the most balanced team. I think Aaron Rodgers has been playing out of his head.
I think it shapes up as a real close game, a very exciting game.
You know, if I had to pick a team, I'd say Pittsburgh. Not that I think Green Bay's a good team. I think Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback. But when you look at the Green Bay and look at Pittsburgh, I think Pittsburgh just have more better players totally, collectively.
I'm leaning towards the guy from Cal, Aaron Rodgers. I just like his demeanor right now.
I'm going to stick with Green Bay in a very close game.
You won't get a pick from me. I think it's two great teams going at it. I really enjoy watching both quarterbacks.
I think it's going to really be the team that doesn't turn the ball over, and that's probably going to be the difference in the game.
I think whoever makes the least amount of mistakes on offense now, we're talking about no fumbles, no fumbles, and like that. Just if anybody does that, I think that's where it's going to hurt them.
I think it should be a very good game. I mean, two good defenses. I think they're the two top scoring defenses in the game. So that's going to make it a big challenge for both teams.
I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to win. They're playing really good football. They have experience, and I think that's going to give them an advantage.
Well, Nick, I would, in your company, knowing just how much you bleed the black and gold, I couldn't pick against them. I'd have this microphone shoved right in my face. I can't risk that.
Yeah, it really is one of those games that you can make a strong case for either team. The Packers are the slight favorites, but nobody would be ruling the Steelers out of this one either.
No, it's way, way too close to call. And I think, you look at this house, and maybe an edge is the fact that there are so many Steeler fans in this building and such a vocal Steeler contingent.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Because I thought this would be a 50-50 split in this house with Packers fans traveling as well. But we saw the towels coming out, and it looked like a Pittsburgh house to me, Jeff.
There was no question. This was shades of old Riverfront right there.
All right, let's hand over to Fox.
At times, it is a struggle. We witness it. We feel it. We live it. But through it all, generation after generation, we never give up. How could we? Can you imagine what life would be like if they didn't persevere during an era that was far from great? If he never asked what we can do
for your country.
If he didn't dream. If they did not show the world on our darkest day that our flag was still there. Tonight, here we are, united to see their journey. Two storied franchises. One, founded by a shipping clerk at the Indian Packing Company. The other, named after the proud steel mills that forged this great nation. Green Bay and Pittsburgh, where the game of football is in their blood. This is so much bigger than just a football game. These two teams have given us the chance for one night, not only to dream, but to believe. This is a celebration of their journey, of our journey.
Ladies and gentlemen, the newest members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Les Richter and Ed Sable. And joining us in the coin toss ceremony, Chris Hamburger, Richard Dent, Shannon Sharp, Marshall Falk, and Deion Sanders. And now referee Walt Anderson.
Welcome, captains, to Super Bowl 45. The commemorative coin, the helmets with the Lombardi trophy, is heads. The stadium is tails. Pittsburgh is the visiting team and will call the toss. Who will call the toss? James, what is the call? Tails. The call is tails. Deion Sanders. Deion will toss the coin.
Come on now. It is.
It is heads. Green Bay has won the toss. They're going to defer to the second half. Pittsburgh will receive. Green Bay, which goal will you defend? Which goal? Which goal will you kick?
When we come back, Chris Myers with head coach of the Steelers, Mike Tomlin, and Pam Oliver will visit with Green Bay defensive back Charles Woodson, followed by the kickoff. And we thank you for watching the Focus Rally America pre-kick.
Yeah, we see that the Green Bay Packers will be the first one to get the ball. But let me ask you guys something. You know, there's always been this talk about this guy, that guy. Who aren't they talking about for you guys that maybe we need to keep an eye on?
Here's the two guys that I'm going to talk about that nobody said anything about. You got A.J. Hawk and you got Desmond Bishop in the middle of that Green Bay defense because they're going to have to stop the run game of Pittsburgh Steelers. Those guys got to come up big today in this game.
They're not talking about this guy named Ryan Clark, the free safety for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He is going to have to be the last man, the last defender to stop guys like Jordy Nelson and Greg Jennings, okay, and stop that attack that the Packers are going to come. I think that guy Clark is going to be the X factor in the game for Pittsburgh.
Okay, what about a guy here, the right tackle for the Green Bay Packers named Brian Beluga. He will be going up against Lamar Woodley, who has double figures in sacks 3 consecutive years for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's an important matchup there, especially for the quarterback.
Oh, there's no question about it. Aaron Rodgers will know where he's at. There's no question. Aaron's going to have to step up in the pocket just so that Woodley can't come around that end, use his speed. A lot of that's going to be based on what Aaron Rodgers does in this game, too.
And look for them to have running backs to stay in and chip and try to help out. Look for tight ends to stay in, try to chip and help out, and let the receivers really make things happen. So, I mean, they talk about balance, but he's going to need some help.
What comes through your mind when it says they're not going to be able to run on the Pittsburgh Steelers? You being a fullback, a blocking fullback, they say that they are not going to be able to run the football.
Man, you know I get fired up.
Okay, let's see what Pam has to say.
It's real simple. You know, don't think about anything else but just winning. Just go out here and win.
Appreciate it, Charles.
Thank you.
Let's go over to Chris Myers.
Pam, with Mike Tomlin, you've been through this before. Your emotion of the team, and also what do you think we should look for early?
You know, I don't know how much experience helps right about now. You know, I think both teams are extremely fired up. We're not going to try to get too cute early. I want everybody selling into this game and understand that we're here to play and play to win.
All right, thanks for your time. Good luck, Coach.
All right, bud. Take care.
Joe? All right, Chris. Mike Tomlin is only 38. He's in his 4th year with the Steelers. And he's taken his team to another Super Bowl. He won Super Bowl 43 over Arizona 27-23, and now with Antonio Brown waiting for the opening kickoff, Crosby will get rid of it. And we play football. In the end zone, Brown will take it out. A slight hesitation, and Antonio Brown with a good return to start this game for the Steelers. Crosby forced him out. And a 37-yard return by the rookie Antonio Brown starts this game. Now we look at the backs and receivers for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They rank 14th overall offensively in an offensive line. Troy, it's the 6th different combination up front and the first NFL start at center for Doug Legursky.
Yeah, a lot of adjustments really along that offensive line throughout the season. They were able to settle in over the second half, and then a big loss last week or 2 weeks ago in that AFC Championship game when Marquise Pouncey went down with the foot injury.
Starting at the 36, quick throw, Hines Ward out on the edge, and it's Matthews making the play for Green Bay. And now the defense. These are two defenses that are very similar. Coordinator is Don Capers. They run a 3-4, as do the Steelers. B.J. Raji is in the middle, then the linebackers, and we'll be saying Clay Matthews' name a lot.
Well, it seems we do each and every week, and I think that when you look at what Pittsburgh intends to do with some of their empty sets, they've not yet shown it. You could anticipate then Clay Matthews receiving a lot of single blocking there up front.
On 2nd down and 6, Mendenhall gets it, and he goes down immediately. A loss on the play of 4, and Frank Zombo, who had missed 6 straight games with a knee injury, active, starting, and he makes a play on the 2nd snap.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of talk when you come in, you play the Green Bay Packers because of the way that they played defensively in the regular season. They were one of the worst in the NFL in terms of stopping people running the football. In the postseason, that has not been the case. They have been exceptional.
It's 3rd and 10. Pretty good pocket. Roethlisberger fires to the sideline, incomplete. And it's 3 and out for the Steelers with their first possession. Antonio Brown, the intended target.
Well, that's a great job there defensively by the Green Bay Packers. They defer the coin toss. They're going to get the ball and to start the second half. Antonio Brown with the opening kickoff. You know, he was able to give this offense pretty good field position, but Pittsburgh failed to do anything with it.
Tramon Williams waits for it. Kapanos, a former Packer, will kick it. There has never been a punt return for a touchdown in Super Bowl history, and there won't be one here. That ball is dropped, and the fight for the football. A muff punt by Tramon Williams, and let's see who gets on top. Green Bay's football. You talk about anxious moments here at the start of the game. It stays with Green Bay as Tramon Williams with Sam Shields, the rookie, right in his face. His teammate couldn't haul it in cleanly, and then somebody down at the bottom of the pile came away with a football.
Yeah, I think that was the bigger thing, Joe, that Tramon Williams, you know, sometimes you get into a game like this, you don't know how these young players, how their nerves are going to be, but I don't think that was the case. I think it was just the fact that Sam Shields was right there in his lap, and he was worried about him, and so there for a split second, he just took his eyes off the ball. Big break there by Green Bay being able to get back on that ball.
It was Tramon Williams who came away with the football, so in the end, no harm, no foul, and now starting at the 21. Quick throw over the middle, broken up, and a good play made by Woodley on Jennings. And so now this offense, which has been putting up yards and points in the postseason under the controls of Aaron Rodgers.
He's been outstanding. He's been great all season long. He's been good in the postseason. Didn't have as good a game in the championship game there against the Chicago Bears, but still, having said that, has completed over 70% of his passes in the 3 postseason games.
the second play, it's Starks. And the rookie Starks gets a yard. Knocked down by Woodley. This is a defense that is coordinated by Dick LeBeau, who is a 73-year-old Hall of Famer. It's a 3-4 defense in Troy. The question for Green Bay offensively is, will Aaron Rodgers have time to take advantage of the matchups on the outside?
Yeah, and that's every quarterback goes into each game against these Steelers saying the same thing. And there's very few matchups when you look at these outside linebackers that they don't win on a consistent basis week in and week out.
Penalty flag flies. Could be a free play, and this one is complete to Driver. Steelers were showing a blitz, and they came across early. And the preliminary indication is it's against Pittsburgh. It's a 24-yard completion.
Offsides, number 51. Defense. Penalty is declined. First down.
This is a blitz right here that Pittsburgh had a lot of success with last year in that December meeting. They come right back with it here on the first possession. They get Ferrier for being offsides. But the Packers failed to pick this blitz up very well last year, and they knew they were going to get a heavy dose of it. First time the Steelers come with it, they're able to block it up, even though Ferrier got called with the penalty.
So that's the first down of the game, and Rodgers now has his team at his own 46. Play action. Rodgers throws, gets hit too high for Jordy Nelson. And Aaron Rodgers ends up on his back. Aaron Rodgers.
Brett Kiesel right here. He just twists and he keeps playing. They turn him loose. They thought they had two guys on him, and you know, Brett Kiesel, Joe, he got a lot of attention this week for that thing that he's calling a beard, but he's a heck of a football player too, and I think that maybe is what got lost this week.
He hasn't touched that beard since June. Consequently, nobody else has touched it. 2nd and 10. Here's Starks. Tries to run through Timmons. Picks up 3. I started to say that Aaron Rodgers grew up in Chico, California, which is in Northern California, about 90 minutes northeast of Sacramento. His dad is Ed, his mom Darla, 2 brothers Luke and Jordan. He grew up a 49er fan, idolized Joe Montana, then Steve Young. Was not recruited out of high school, went to Butte College, a junior college, then got a ride to Cal. His favorite team passed on him in the first round when he was drafted in 05. The Packers are thrilled he fell to them with a 24th pick, 3rd and 7. A stunt up front. This is Nelson through his arms. That pass was there, and Jordy Nelson could not come down with it.
Aaron Rodgers had Ferrier back in his lap, but he still delivered a perfect throw here. You're going to see, I mean, that's a ball that Jordy Nelson makes most of the time. Just went right through his arms. You know, there's Ferrier. You got John Kuhn, who was in protection. He's got to go attack Ferrier, because Ferrier, even though he's been in this league a long time, he is a physical player.
Masters had a very good postseason. Drills this one deep, and Jared Bush can't make the play. Into the end zone. Steelers will have it for the 2nd time, starting at their own 20. Almost. Nelson couldn't make the catch. No score early. Super Bowl 45.
Follow England in the ICC Cricket World Cup. Coverage sponsored by Rubicon. Coming soon. Sky Sports HD.
What was that again?
So whether it's a cat or a dog.
It's a doggy.
Of course. We could offer you 12 months for the price of 9, which can get you up to £6,000 cover for illness or injury.
No, Pip doesn't need that. She's very robust.
You can never be sure, and vet bills can be really expensive. On average, it costs £1,700 to treat a broken leg.
Well, she never walks.
say she did catch something?
Yes, she's very good at catching.
It really is quite straightforward. Get 12 months pet insurance for the price of 9. Direct Line.
You're fooling nobody, Baldy.
Need a number fast?
Give me 500.
Call 118-500 from BT.
The new Gillette Fusion Pro Glide. You'll get a great shave in the morning, or your money back in the afternoon. Tesco. Every little helps.
No score here in Super Bowl 45, but here in the Sky Sports commentary box, we've been joined by our old friend Sean Gale. We've heard from Jeff Reinbold. We've heard from just about everybody else. Sean, thanks very much indeed for joining us. What's your take on Super Bowl 45? What kind of game can we expect?
You know, a lot of Super Bowls haven't lived up to the hype. This game will be a little bit different. Strong defense and two well-trained teams offensively. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, it certainly should be, and we're seeing defense already. 2 punts, and there's going to be a few more of those, I'm sure.
5th season. Took his club to the NFC Championship game in his 2nd year back in 07. Now he's in Super Bowl 45. He's from Pittsburgh. Greenfield neighborhood. Grew up a Steeler fan. And now he runs the Packers. First down, Pittsburgh. That's Mendenhall. Good blocking out in front. Rashard Mendenhall has the Steelers' first down of the game.
You see Dave Johnson here in the job that he does. This guy is an absolute load. He is very good in this position as a tight end player, playing the fullback spot. And you see Rashard Mendenhall. Last week in the championship game, he was exceptional in running the football after contact. And again, he does not go down easily. You go down low on Rashard Mendenhall, you are not going to get him to the ground.
15-yard carry. First down at the 35. On the ground again, Mendenhall has his shoe back on. And he is wrestled to the ground about a half-yard shy of a first down by A.J. Hawk.
Well, you know, Pittsburgh just comes right back with the same play. David Johnson leading the way. They pull left guard Chris Kemoatu, which is what they like to do. And that's the running play that Green Bay have to be able to control if they're going to be able to slow down this running attack.
2nd and 1. And a penalty flag, a false start.
Before the snap, false start, number 85, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
That's David Johnson. Tonight's cam is sponsored by Bud Light as we get a chance with this cable cam to dip down behind the offense and give you a look at what a quarterback would see with a play developing. 2nd and 6. Quick throw, Mike Wallace. And Wallace wrapped up after a gain of 4. Tramon Williams out there to make the stop.
You know, we had a chance to visit with Ben Roethlisberger, Joe, earlier in the week, and you know, I think it's been interesting in the year that he's had on a lot of levels. But let's just focus on what has happened to him in terms of the physical play that he's endured. He's wearing a steel plate in his shoe. He's wearing a 15.5 size shoe on his right foot. Normally he wears a size 14. He said it does give him some problems, especially early in games when he pushes off or when he takes off and scrambles. He also broke his nose at one point, had a knee injury, shoulder injury. This guy's as tough as they come.
3rd down and 2. Roethlisberger slings it through the hands of Heath Miller, incomplete, and it's 4th down. Tramon Williams on the coverage.
You know, you think back to their 2 playoff games, the Steelers, and they were held for under 300 yards in each of those games, but what they were really good at doing was converting on 3rd down. And so far, the Packers have been very good defensively, getting off the field here on third downs in the early going.
Cavanos hangs a beauty. And into the end zone. So now the Packers will start at their 20. There is no score. Mike Tomlin, the youngest head coach to win a Super Bowl, is looking for another. No score.
Yep, proved to be a costly penalty in the end there for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Forced to punt. That's 3 possessions, 3 punts, and Sean, pretty much what we expected in this game, I imagine.
Well, with 2 strong defenses, you got to believe it'll come down to who handles the pressure the best. And both teams have played very well, and they're really similar. I think people don't realize how close these 2 teams match up. And both quarterbacks, they buy time for the receivers. The receivers know how to come back to the quarterback. It makes it so much easier. So it will come down to who handles the pressure up front.
Jeff, we talked about Green Bay. They can't afford to become a one-dimensional team. They've had a couple of runs. They've tried a bit of play action as well. They're trying to get James Starks involved in this thing, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, and it was interesting. They've done it from a number of different personnel groups. If you notice, they've really only been in 2 backs one time, and they did do some multiple receiver stuff and try and run the ball, multiple tight end stuff and try and run the ball to get the nose tackle out of the game and run at the nickel.
Yeah, well, that's how we're seeing it, guys. Kev in the studio, and the guys, how are you seeing things so far?
Well, you know, that is the question. How are we seeing it?
Well, I'm looking at it this way. I'm watching the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're going after Tramon Williams. They're going to stay away from the guy on the other side that was last year's defensive player. So they're going to go after Williams, and they can't see if they can make some plays on that side.
I just see sloppy play. I see 2 quarterbacks that have been making those types of throws to get their team there, and they need to bring the ball down, they need to calm down, they need to make plays.
You know, we see the Pittsburgh Steelers able to run the football, still have yet to see the Green Bay Packers establish their running game.
And Javen pointed out something, and we'll get a chance to see it later on. There are some running lanes out there for the Green Bay Packers. Just a matter of Starks calming down and finding them, and them establishing some type of a run so that Rodgers has some lanes to throw the passes.
These 2 teams are the best defense when you talk about scoring in the NFL. The Pittsburgh Steelers were #1 against points allowed. The Green Bay Packers were the 2nd. They only allowed 8 more points than what the Pittsburgh Steelers did on the regular season. Let's get back and join the Coms at the stadium.
They've won 5 straight now, the last 3 in the playoffs on the road. Story with them is what Mike McCarthy and this club has persevered. Been able to get through 15 players on injured reserve, 6 opening day starters, including losing their opening day running back and their top guy, Ryan Grant, week 1, and Jermichael Finley, their top tight end, in October. Rodgers with time, floats it, far sideline, incomplete. Greg Jennings, the target.
You know, I think if you look at this game, Joe, and what exactly is Green Bay wanting to do on the offensive side of the ball? They would like to be able to spread out this Pittsburgh defense. They feel that their 3rd and 4th wide receivers are better than the 3rd and 4th defensive backs for the Steelers. They'd like to get Greg Jennings then in the slot position as well and work the middle of the field, and that's not lost on Dick LeBeau. You know, in talking with Mike Tomlin about how they were going to handle it defensively, he said, hey, they want to spread us out. They want to get Greg Jennings up the seam, and we've got to be prepared for that.
Rodgers with time, fires a strike to Jordy Nelson. Forward progress will give him just about 9 3/4 yards. And they are going to be, it appears, inches short of a first down. So here come the bigger bodies. 3 tight ends check in. James Starks at running back. And this is literally 3rd and inches. There's the start for Aaron Rodgers. To Starks, and the rookie has it. Bounced out of the pile, picked up 7. Ryan Clark there to force him out. James Starks, who became a weapon and a player that other teams recognized offensively for Green Bay, and win at Philadelphia when he rushed for 123 yards. is good enough for 7 and a first down out to the 37.
Tom Crabtree, he just grabbed Lawrence Timmons and slammed him to the ground. I'm shocked that they didn't get a holding penalty on that play.
Here's Jordy Nelson. He's been busy. And Nelson dives out of bounds. Short of the marker. Picked up 9.
And that's the matchup in particular that Aaron Rodgers really likes is Jordy Nelson. And Greg Jennings, as we know, I mean, he's the guy that they're going to target most of the time. But when they're not getting the ball to him or Donald Driver, Jordy Nelson creates a lot of matchup problems for any defensive unit. We've seen it. You know, this guy, a lot of people don't talk a lot about him, and then all of a sudden he'll just quietly have a big game.
2nd and 1. Here's Starks. And Starks picks up a first down. First down, Green Bay coming up. Don't miss the Bridgestone Super Bowl 45 halftime show starring the Black Eyed Peas. Right here only on Fox. will.i.am of the Black Eyed Peas has promised something spectacular. So we'll just see.
Yes, we will. Look forward to it.
You know, you talk about Nelson. That's why they're so good. That's why Green Bay is so tough to beat. Because if you focus on Jennings, Nelson will crush you. If you focus on Nelson and Jennings, James Jones will get you. Or then there's Donald Driver, the veteran. They can come at you a lot of different ways. First down when we come back as the Pack takes a timeout.
For every friend you introduce to Sky TV, we'll give you £50 of M&S vouchers. Each friend you introduce will get £50 of vouchers too. And they'll enjoy the same great thrilling lineup of Sky TV as you do. And since there's no limit to the amount of friends you can introduce, there's no end to the amount of vouchers you can get. That's £50 of M&S vouchers for you both when you introduce a friend to Sky TV. Ask them to call today on 08442 410 101. Sky.
In your face. Yes!
During the regular season, Aaron Rodgers had to pass the ball 65% of the time. During the playoffs, they run the ball more than what they pass, and James Starks could be a big person in this ball game.
He's going to have to be a big person in this football game for the Packers to have success. He's going to have to establish that run game, keep hold of that football, keep Big Ben off of it, allow Aaron Rodgers to throw the football, what he's been doing well.
Well, you know, and I think this game is going to be decided by running backs, not from the sense of running for 150 yards, but picking up those key first downs. Now, the Packers, obviously, they've been able to pick up some first downs, but they got to do a better job than just inches and just 2 or 3 yards. And, oh, man, Stark has got to lower his shoulder when he's down there in the sideline and run some people over.
2 first downs so far for Starks.
There's John Madden. John Madden is actually texting somebody.
I was going to say, I wonder who he's texting.
President George W. Bush to his left, Laura, Alex Rodriguez, Cameron Diaz. Sure, Alex is thrilled we just put the camera on him at that moment, being fed popcorn. Aaron Rodgers in trouble, gets rid of it, and finds Brandon Jackson, who takes it inside the Pittsburgh 40, and for the first time, a team is in the opponent's territory. That was good for 14.
Well, right tackle Brian Bulaga, he's going to have his hands full here tonight. He's got Lamar Woodley, and Woodley's able to get the pressure on him, but a good job by Aaron Rodgers of knowing where to go with the football. In fact, in talking with him, he knew there were going to be times in this game where he was not going to be able to get the ball down the field where he wanted. He said, I have got to be really sharp and make sure I know where my outlets are so I can get the ball out and not get sacked.
Here's Starks, nice head of steam, and James Starks takes it to the 31, picked up.
Interesting. I like what Mike McCarthy is doing right now as a play caller. He's still mixing it up, and we knew that he would coming in, because even though this Pittsburgh defense has been so dominant against the run, #1 in the league this year, one of the best all time in the history of the game, but yet Mike McCarthy is not going to get away from maintaining some type of balance. Not only is he doing that, but overall they're having some pretty good success right now moving the ball on the ground.
Second down and 3. Rodgers just got rid of it, completes the ball to Hall, the fullback. Corey Hall gets 2. He's about a yard shy of a first down.
Yeah, they had a chance at Donald Lee down the middle, and that's the area where if Pittsburgh is vulnerable in any one particular area consistently, that would be it.
Aaron Rodgers, who has suffered 2 concussions this season, wearing a different helmet than the one he started the year with, got hit there. 3rd and 1. Rodgers, Jordy Nelson, touchdown, Green Bay.
You get one-on-one on the outside against William Gay, and you see the hand check right there. Just a perfectly thrown ball by Aaron Rodgers. Puts it right where it needed to be. William Gay unable to react to it. Touchdown for the Packers.
That came on 3rd and 1. And a 9-play, 80-yard drive ends in a 29-yarder to Jordy Nelson. They can get you a lot of different ways. It's number 87 with a Super Bowl touchdown. 7-0 Green Bay.
One touchdown in our ball game, but this is action from the Indigo nightclub at the O2 Arena. It's the biggest Super Bowl party in the country, Super Bash. Let's hear from Bianca Westwood, who's hosting the event.
Thanks, Kev. Well, if you can't be at the Arlington Stadium in Dallas, then this isn't a bad alternative. It's the Super Bash. It's at the Indigo O2 Arena here in London, and it's the UK's biggest Super Bowl party. We've got a fantastic night here planned. We've got the Colts cheerleaders performances. Of course, we've got the big game, and we've got some crazy fans here too. And I popped downstairs and had a word with some of them a little earlier on.
Green Bay, 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 Green Bay.
I've got a Packers fan and a Steelers fan here. They are friends at the moment. I'm wondering if they're going to be friends at the end of the night. Are you guys?
Well, we will be, because when the Packers win, he'll accept it. He'll accept it as an inevitability. If that happens, which it won't.
How are you enjoying the Super Bash?
Yeah, I love it. We've been here the past couple of years. Last year for me it was a bit disappointing, but everyone else loved it. But he loved it, but I didn't. But this year, hopefully, it'll be even better.
7-0 in our ball game. We get a touchdown in Super Bowl 45. What did you like about the play?
Well, a number of things. They set it up because of the run game. They could fake a little play action right here. But the 2 things you have to understand, perfect throw by Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson using his bigger size to get on top of the little DB, push him off, use his body, make a catch for the touchdown, putting his team up 7-0 at this point.
You know, Steve, so you talked about that it really didn't matter that the Green Bay Packers only have 2 players that have Super Bowl experience right now. They lead this ball game by a scoreline 7-0. We're going to get back. We're going to join our commentators at the stadium.
Coach trying to settle Aaron Rodgers into a rhythm, and now he's completed 5 straight, including the touchdown to Jordy Nelson.
Well, I think Mike McCarthy is such an excellent play caller, and he talks about it. His first objective coming into the game is trying to get his quarterback into a rhythm, and he has done that here in this first quarter.
And it was really before this role that the Packers have been on, and McCarthy told us, I have a championship quarterback, and I'm going to use him. And he's ridden him here to the Super Bowl. Antonio Brown from the end zone. Penalty flag flies. Bigby can't bring him down, and Antonio Brown is out across the 40, but there's a flag back at the 14-yard line.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 29, receiving team. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
They get Ryan Mundy as we take a break. It erases a 44-yard return by Antonio Brown. Steelers will have it down 7.
Bienvenidos, amigos.
It's the next 6 days. Cheers.
All going on a
summer holiday.
Max Beasley, Philip Glenister, John Sim, and Mark Warren on a holiday.
It's Tony Black.
To die for.
And laughter on a fun and
Tony Black,
and laughter on
Mad Dogs starts Thursday at 9, Sky One HD.
Want an easy way to rent DVDs, Blu-rays and games? Watch movies online, stream movies to your internet TV and now your PS3. Go to lovefilm.com.
The world-famous Harlem Globetrotters are returning to the UK this April to celebrate their 85th anniversary, bringing a whole new ball game. The legendary Harlem Globetrotters live in the UK. For tickets, go to livenation.co.uk. The legendary Harlem Globetrotters live in the UK. For tickets, go to livenation.co.uk.
Complete our affinity questionnaire and we'll send you out your compatible matches for free. Start your lasting relationship at matchaffinity.com.
I'm the one fighting, okay?
Mickey has a chance to do something I never did. He needs me.
This is my shot. I won't get another one after this.
The Fighter in cinemas now.
Seven nothing in this ballgame. The Pittsburgh Steelers have 28 yards of total offense. The Green Bay Packers have 108. Let's get back to the ballgame. Super Bowl 45 taking place in Dallas, Texas.
Is there any history with these two franchises? One team's won more NFL titles than any other franchise, and the other's won more Super Bowls. Pittsburgh trying for their 7th. Big Ben, his 3rd. Down by 7. Pump fake. Wallace picked off. Nick Collins. Nick Collins on the return inside the 10, leaps for the touchdown. Flozell Adams is down. There's a flag on the field, but that's for excessive celebration. The touchdown will stand.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct number 36 of the defense going to the ground after the score. That 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff. The touchdown is good.
Green. And he's the one who gets the hand then right into the face of Ben Roethlisberger, disrupting that throw. He's unable to get anything on it. Nick Collins then comes across from the safety position to get the interception. This was a pump fake. They're trying to get a shot down the field. But because of the inside pressure, Roethlisberger unable to get anything on that throw and an easy interception.
And a 37-yard return for the touchdown. Nick Collins, a Pro Bowler, playing center field. He came over, picked it off. Howard Green, a guy that the Packers picked up at the end of October, forced that throw. 14-0, Green Bay.
Well, a great start for the Green Bay Packers on offense and now on defense. And you got to credit the pressure inside there from Howard Green, I guess, that created that mistake from Big Ben.
Howard Green just walked that tackle right back and put him in Roethlisberger's lap, which made it tough for him to get and throw the ball. But, you know, the Packers are playing really well, and the Steelers have been here before. They're not going to panic, and as Sean knows, there's a lot of football to play.
Right, the first few series, it's going to be an adjustment period to get rid of the nerves. Now they're going to settle and really play some football.
Well, the Steelers certainly need to settle if they want to make a game of this. Down by 14, they need some points.
Throws the interception.
We'll go back and take a look at this, Joe, and see where Howard Green comes in. And, you know, initially I thought he might have gotten up near the headgear, and even though it's close, he comes across. There's no contact to the helmet. It's to the shoulder pad. And you see he's pointing out there to Mike Wallace or to Mike Tomlin there that, yeah, I was unable to get anything on it because I had Howard Green draped over my right shoulder.
Well, now because of the penalty for the celebration going to the ground, unsportsmanlike conduct, Crosby kicks off from the 15, and it's Mwelde Moore on the return. And Moore will take it out across the 35. Brett Swain on the stop, a 12-yard return by Moore.
Here's Nick Collins right here. So here's what happens when the pump fake goes to that side. It immediately draws Nick Collins to that sideline. If Ben Roethlisberger had pumped Nick Collins down the middle of the field, that holds Nick in the middle. Collins probably doesn't make that interception, but instead, trying to influence the corner, it brings the safety into play. That combined with the pressure, the play just didn't have a chance.
A Green Bay defense that was number 2 in the league with 24 interceptions. During the regular season, Collins had 4 of them. That was the biggest one of his life. Here's Mendenhall out to the 40, and remember the good return by Antonio Brown. 44-yarder was eliminated by the block in the back from Ryan Mundy, and instead of starting at the 43, that drive starts at the Pittsburgh 7, and the interception for the touchdown followed.
Well, and Antonio Brown's had a couple nice returns now, and what's interesting is the Steelers talked about going to an empty set backfield, spreading out the Packers, throwing the ball. It's something we've not seen much of.
Here is Mendenhall. First down, Pittsburgh. Remember, the Steelers were down by 14 points in that first half in the divisional round at home to the Baltimore Ravens, and they have just witnessed the Packers put up 14 points in 24 seconds. And now we'll see how the Steelers, who have 25 players with Super Bowl experience, go about this 14-point deficit.
Well, even Mike Tomlin told us the other day, even though the last time these two teams met, there was not a turnover in that game last December. He said, I don't believe either one of these teams can get through a game without turning the ball over. I don't know that he anticipated it being for an interception return for a touchdown like that last one.
Here is Sanders. And Emmanuel Sanders, the rookie, on first down, picks up 4. There's a flag down on that first down catch. And now Walt Anderson has to break up Jonathan Scott, who got into it with either Jenkins or Rodgers. Here's a call.
During the run, illegal block in the back, number 68, offense. It's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. It'll be first down.
You know what I find here, Joe? That's on left guard Chris Kemoatu, the one who gave up the big hit on the interception with Howard Green going right over the top of him. You know, you watch this game here in this first half, and surprisingly, you know, we talk about the experience, the Super Bowl experience of the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're the ones who seem to be playing with, you know, a little bit frazzled out there, where the Packers, both defensively and offensively, they seem to be the ones that are much calmer in their approach.
Flozell Adams, who was slow to get off the field the last time the Steelers had it, has been replaced at right tackle by Trey Essex. On first down, Roethlisberger. Mendenhall out of the backfield, and Rashard Mendenhall takes it out to the 49. Let's go down to the sideline for a couple of injury updates with Chris Myers.
Well, Joe, he has returned from the locker room, but starting corner Bryant McFadden left with a hip pointer. He was out on those last few plays when the touchdown pass went to Jordy Nelson. William Gay was in coverage replacing him, and it's a left shoulder injury on Flozell Adams. They're working on it. They hope to get him back into the game as soon as possible.
All right, Chris Flozell, who made all 18 starts at right tackle coming into this game, 5-time Pro Bowler with the Cowboys. First year with the Steelers, and he's getting worked on the sidelines. 2nd and 9. Good protection. Roethlisberger slipped, and Miller can't make the catch. And Roethlisberger slow to get up. His feet just went out from under him. And now he gets up gimpy, checking that left leg.
Yeah, you know, he came out off of the play action and got set up. Heath Miller actually ran a good route, and there was nobody in the area of Ben Roethlisberger. He takes a step to throw it, and the left knee gave out on him.
He doesn't look like he can move at all on 3rd and 9. Roethlisberger. Now he can move. Bad knee and all. He's got a first down and a big one for Pittsburgh.
Well, this was the concern for Dom Capers coming into the game, because you've got to maintain gap integrity, and as soon as you give Roethlisberger the middle of the field like that, they're in man coverage. Nobody then is looking at the quarterback, and if you don't contain him within the pocket and he breaks contain, there's nobody left then to account for him. So you're right, Joe, bad knee and all, it's enough still to pick up the first down.
Yeah, he picked up 18. That was a big one for the Steelers, down by 14 after one as we continue with Super Bowl 45.
Whatever your kids love to read, you can choose from 150 books to create your own free Ladybird library. Offer continues with tomorrow's Daily Mirror.
When you're lost in space and they don't know their way, who are you gonna call?
For every friend you introduce to Sky TV, we'll give you £50 of M&S vouchers. Each friend you introduce will get £50 of vouchers too. And they'll enjoy the same great thrilling lineup of Sky TV as you do. And since there's no limit to the amount of friends you can introduce, there's no end to the amount of vouchers you can get. That's £50 of M&S vouchers for you both when you introduce a friend to Sky TV. Ask them to call today on 08442 410 101. Sky.
We're going to break into the CIA.
Bruce Willis, Morgan Freeman, John Malkovich, Helen Mirren. They're retired and extremely dangerous. Red on DVD and Blu-ray Monday.
$7-0 or 14-0 in our ball game. Ben Roethlisberger, we thought he was hurt, but not that bad.
No, he's not hurt that bad. And right here, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at watch how the Green Bay Packers right in here get caught up, create a space for Ben Roethlisberger. Give credit right here to the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line, creating a little hole right here. We'll see it. Here it comes. Blitz is picked up. Little hole. Look at the hole right here in the middle of the field for Ben to run. You'll notice everybody's got their backs turned, man-to-man coverage. Ben Roethlisberger takes off running.
That's a big boy running there. That's a big man running with the ball. But his presence of mind. We talk about leadership. Being able to, in a situation where you are down by 2, put it on your shoulders and run with it, literally.
And we talk about, before the game started, great players, great leaders, they needed to come up with a play.
They did need to come up with a play, and that's one that's going to get Ben back in the game after getting hit, throwing an interception. It's a big play for the Steelers right there.
Yeah, like a boxer, he has the rest of the quarter, the halftime break to get it together. In our ball game, it's a 14-0 contest, but still the Pittsburgh Steelers are still in this game.
They are still in the game, and it is a long game. And at the end of the day, they still haven't even put any points on the board yet. So they're not out of the game, but they're definitely not in the game. But it's a momentum shifter when you are able to take a play that obviously is supposed to go down and turn into a 20-yard gain. That's a big momentum hitter.
18-yard. He was just getting loose, just in case. Here's Mendenhall. Mendenhall can't get away from Woodson. Good play by the 13-year pro out of Michigan. There are the stats, and as you look at that lineup, you see number 71, Flozo Adams, back at right tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, and for anybody wondering what exactly Byron Leftwich was listening to, that was not an iPod that he had in his ear. He's able to listen to the calls that are being relayed into Ben Roethlisberger, the offensive calls. Shouldn't be surprised he ran it on the next play. He had that knee to his thigh in the championship game, and he still ran well in that game.
On 2nd and 12, this one's broken up, no flag, and that was Tramon Williams breaking it up, getting it away from Emmanuel Sanders, who starred nearby at SMU. Now it's 3rd down.
Well, Tramon Williams has had a heck of a season, as we know, and you see how he reacts so well. And boy, you better be pretty precise when you're throwing that route against Williams, because he's got 3 interceptions in the postseason alone. And a ball on the outside sideline, if it is behind him at all, then he will undercut that one, and that was not a great throw there by Ben Roethlisberger.
3rd down and 12. Roethlisberger, Sanders had fallen down. He picked up the 1st down with the initial yardage, and he's got it as Tramon Williams made the tackle. Sanders went backward, but eventually picks up 13 and another big 1st down for Pittsburgh.
Boy, what a year this guy has had for his rookie season, and I don't know that they really knew what to expect out of him coming into the year, but he has gotten better and better as this season has gone along. In fact, as we see him hobble off, but his development along with the other rookie Antonio Brown is what has allowed them to get into more of their 3 wide receiver sets, something Roethlisberger likes a lot.
On 1st down, play action, Roethlisberger gets out of trouble and is brought down by Clay Matthews. Saw Emmanuel Sanders limp to the sideline. And this is why, as he was ripped to the ground by Tramon Williams, that left knee went right into the turf, and now he's right back into the game. 2nd and 8.
Yeah, I don't know that you can miss much time on a play like that. I mean, if you think about, we talked about all the things that the quarterback has been through. He sets a pretty high bar for coming back and playing with injury.
Second and 8. Here's Mendenhall. Turned it into a little something as he got around Pepra. A.J. Hawk on the stop, a gain of 1. Now another big 3rd down for the Steelers, who are down by 14. And now Emmanuel Sanders back to the sideline and not happy. Those young rookie wide receivers, as you said, Troy, have given this team some juice on the outside. Antonio Brown and Sanders. Now Antoine Randall checks in on 3rd and 7. Mike Wallace brought down immediately by Collins. And Collins with a tackle at the 15, short of a 1st down, a gain of just 4.
Well, you see Charles Woodson, and he just continues to do it all. You know, here in his 13th season. He's directing traffic back there, but that's the key right there for the Green Bay Packers, is they do a great job on the back end, even when they catch the ball in front of them, of getting receivers to the ground.
Here's Sean Sweezum from 33. And Sweezum is good. Steelers have their first points. 14-3. With over 11 to play in this first half of Super Bowl 45.
They will come to these shores to contest a tournament like none seen before. In a Coliseum fit for the fiercest of clashes. The Republic of Ireland, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Wales. 6 games, 4 rival nations. Only one will lift the first Carling Nations Cup. Live Tuesday and Wednesday, Sky Sports HD 1 and Sky 3D.
True beauty comes from within. It's a DuraTalk TDCi engine that gives you effortless performance and low emissions. New Ford Mondeo, with our most advanced diesel engines ever.
Complete our affinity questionnaire and we'll send you out your compatible matches for free. Start your lasting relationship at matchaffinity.com.
I'm still just ready.
Dead Space 2, out now on PlayStation. Buy the limited edition and get Dead Space Extraction for PlayStation Move for free.
Green Bay leading Super Bowl 45 by 14 points to 3. And, you know, you take that scramble from Ben Roethlisberger out of the picture, Sean, there's no rhythm there for the Steelers offense, is there?
No, not yet. Not yet. I think what it comes down to, again, what got these teams there, they just have to get back into the groove. Roethlisberger, he's done this entire year, and that is extend the play. And when he's able to do that, they can make things happen. And again, this is early in this game, so there's no need to panic.
I think it's critical that they scored points. You know, they needed to get points in that drive. They couldn't stay down 14 and give another possession back to the Packers. Now they've chipped away a little bit. And again, that's what they need, is to just keep hammering away at it.
And now they need to make a defensive stand, because the Packers will have the ball.
Extra hard to help get everybody around this week as Pat Lee on the return takes it out to the 25. So now this highly regarded Steeler defense has to figure something out to slow down number 12 in the pack, who lead by 11.
14-3 in our ball game. And see, so if you look at the ball game right now, who do you see as that player that's making that impact for you?
Well, obviously Nick Collins. I mean, Nick Collins is making the big plays right now. I mean, I like to say he's playing lights out football. I mean, the interception, yeah, you know what, that was by virtue of a defensive lineman, you know, getting in Roethlisberger's face. But making that tackle there in the red zone to keep it from 6 points and only 3 points, that was huge.
That was a big play right there, but also the defensive line of the Green Bay Packers has stepped it up right now. There's no room for Rashad Mendenhall to run. The last few times they've tried to run the ball, they shored up that defensive line. If they can continue to do that, shut down that run game, it could be a long day for Pittsburgh.
So if you're the Pittsburgh quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger, what do you now do to try to offset what is happening with against the defense of the Green Bay Packers?
Here's the problem that Pittsburgh's had so far. They're not successful on first down. They've got to get 5-6 yards on first down. They keep coming up with second down and long and then going into third downs. They have to be successful on first downs.
So back over at the stadium, you know, we have Nick Holland. Nick, you kind of worried over there?
Well, I tell you what, to be honest with you, it's going exactly as I expected, exactly what I was expecting in this game. But the interesting thing that I didn't expect, if anybody's getting one-dimensional offensively right now, it's Pittsburgh, because Jay made a great point there. Mendenhall's not finding much space.
Well, they're not having any success on first down. And again, against the zone blitz team, you want to stay out of those 2nd and 10, 2nd and 8s, 3rd and longs. But they're going to have to find a way to either throw it like Green Bay's doing, intermediate short routes on first down, or run the football.
Sean, the invisible man for Pittsburgh for me in this postseason, Troy Polamalu. We haven't seen him yet in this game either.
Well, you know, you have to credit Green Bay because they have not strayed from what they've done well all year long. And when you take a look at them offensively, they're so well balanced that you really can't find a way to attack them just yet. But we'll see as this game goes on.
Yeah, Sean always talks, and Jeff always talks about just exposing and exploiting the weakness. And right now the Packers doing that very well.
Super Bowl 45 news, stats, video highlights, and more. Text NFL to 8915. So now Green Bay leading 14-3, starts at the 25. William Gay is showing blitz, and here he comes. Rodgers turns to his right and throws behind Jennings. Let's go down to the field, and Chris Myers.
And the hits, the physicality of this game, Joe. Receiver Emmanuel Sanders, you described the play when he was brought down. He came off in frustration, threw his helmet, knew the injury was serious. The doctor looked at they cut the tape off his foot, and he shook his head, limping. They got him on a golf cart, and they have taken him to the locker room. He is questionable the rest of this game.
All right, 2nd down and 10. Steelers have to come after Aaron Rodgers. They came after him on first down, and here they come again. Rodgers throws, completes, and the tackle immediately made by Taylor on James Jones.
Well, they immediately come with that cross blitz between the linebackers in the middle, and the Packers pick that up. But Rodgers gets the ball out, then it's all on the defensive back. You've got to be able to get the guy to the ground, and he was able to do that.
So now 3rd and 5.
You look at what the Packers have done on this down. Well, they've been awfully good. This is an area where this Pittsburgh defense excelled throughout the season.
pass is caught by Driver, and the forward progress will come up short of a first down. So that's a good hold for this Pittsburgh defense, which led the league in sacks, in points scored against it. They get exactly what they need on 3rd and 5 and on that series, and now Driver limps off.
Yeah, no, that was a good job there defensively by Pittsburgh, because their offense was able to at least move the ball down after going down 14-0 and come away with a field goal. And they don't give up any kind of yardage. They don't give up any points. Now they're going to give the ball back to their offense with what should be a pretty good field position.
Line drive punt by Mastay. Antonio Brown from about the 20 is forced out by Jared Bush. He is such a good special teams player, number 24. Driver limped off. Here's why. On the tackle by Ferrier and James Harrison. Steelers have it, down 11.
Keep the change.
Cheers, love.
I will crush. No one else has such power. What's this? Petty Power Games has 150 games. There can't be that many. Blackjack, roulette, deal or no deal, Monopoly slot. The War of the World, Rainbow Riches with big winners. New players get a welcome bonus of up to £200. Why? Evil fist, very painful.
With 150 games, choose your thrill at Paddy Power Games.
14-3 in our ball game. We come into this contest, a lot of talk about the quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers, Ben Roethlisberger, what they've done this season. We know Ben Roethlisberger has 2 Super Bowl wins under his belt. Aaron Rodgers still trying to get his first. If Aaron Rodgers does win this ball game, he will tie Brett Favre for 1 Super Bowl win for the Green Bay Packers. But when we look at them, we see that regular season, but it's all about what they've done in the playoffs.
It's all about postseason, and here's the thing, the completion percentage in the postseason. Aaron Rodgers bumped his up from 65 to 71%, but Ben Roethlisberger has gone down in percentage. He's just above 50%. That's made a big difference. He's got 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, Big Ben does, but Aaron's got the touchdown and interception ratio in the playoffs.
And then you look at their career results, Cease, what do you see?
Well, they're pretty even with the 63.1 completion percentage. But I think that the tall tale sign right here, is really the amount of touchdowns to interceptions. Rodgers is able to be a little bit more cool-handed with the ball and protect the ball a little bit better than Roethlisberger does. But obviously Roethlisberger has his issues with holding on to it, and he's had that for a while.
Well, conduct policy. Initially it was a 6-game suspension. Reduced to 4. Steelers went 3-1 in his absence. Rode Rashard Mendenhall a lot early. The combination of Dennis Dixon and Charlie Batch at quarterback. Here is Mendenhall bouncing it to the outside. And a good run by Rashard Mendenhall, but a flag is down. A gain of 7. But
holding number 83, offense, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
They get Heath Miller for a hold, which wipes away a 7-yard run.
Yeah, Heath Miller right here in the middle. On Clay Matthews. Clay Matthews plays the run awfully well, and Heath Miller got just enough of him.
So Donald Driver now, who was bothered by a quad injury leading into this game, limps off. He had that knee twisting underneath him on that tackle in the 3rd down catch the last time the Packers had it. 1st and 20. Good pocket for Roethlisberger, who finds Wallace. And Mike Wallace is good for 16 yards. And now we welcome you inside our broadcast booth. So we've seen Green Bay do it defensively with the Nick Collins interception for the touchdown, and they have been able to move it. They had that sustained drive on the touchdown to Jordy Nelson.
Well, you look at them. I mean, what Pittsburgh has been known for is big plays down the field. They were second in the National Football League creating plays down the field, throwing it, and that's what they've not been able to do. We saw it on the last play, but their biggest completion was just 13 yards there to Emmanuel Sanders a couple of series ago. They've got to start pushing it a little bit.
Here's Mewelde Moore, who picks up a first down for Pittsburgh. Moore good for 7 and a first down out to the 35. So I talked about Green Bay and what they've done offensively, defensively. You talk about Pittsburgh, and we've seen some glimpses of them being able to run the ball here in this first half against the Packers.
Yeah, and I don't know how much running the ball is going to get Dom Capers really out of his game plan. You know, to a man, they all talked about Roethlisberger being the key. Him being the key because he can extend plays. Now, if he's hobbled, and we've seen him limping around a little bit, Joe, even though he did pick up that one first down with his legs, you know, how much then is that going to be a factor?
Sets up, has a great pocket, good protection, and now he takes off. And he goes down at the 40, hit hard by Zombo, and he wasn't alone. Back down to Chris Myers.
Well, Joe, the team doctor came over to Roethlisberger prior to this series, checked his left knee and asked Ben. He said, are you able to run? Can you keep running? And Ben said, yes, I can. They also checked out his right shoulder from the hit earlier in the game by Green on the interception. So back up to Joe and Troy.
Roethlisberger, who's 10-2 in his career during the postseason. Bart Starr has a better winning percentage at 9-1 in the playoffs in NFL history. Starr is here at the game with his wife tonight. 2nd and 5. Here's Moore from Mewelde Moore. And he ends up getting back to the line of scrimmage. Might have lost half a yard. 3rd down coming up.
You know, we talk about Ben Roethlisberger, and a lot of discussion here over the last 2 weeks as to, you know, what kind of quarterback he is and what people think of him, where does he rank and all of that. I think you just said it, Joe, based on what he has done in postseason play. Pretty remarkable. And I know he has even said, hey, I'm never going to have the big numbers, never going to, you know, win a passing title. I mean, this guy threw for over 4,300 yards a year ago. He's put up some pretty good numbers during his career.
Third down and 6. Just 3 men on the rush, and the pass is complete for a first down. Antoine Randall L., who's back in Pittsburgh, good for 13.
Yeah, Randall L., he's in the game primarily because of the injury to Sanders. You know, well-designed play there. Hines Ward creating a little bit of a natural pick, and it freed then Antoine Randall L. into the middle, and he goes down and makes a nice catch there for the first down.
Something interesting happened on that 3rd down pass play. It's a first down run here by Mendenhall, and Mendenhall is going to be tapped down behind the line of scrimmage. On that 3rd down play, we talked to Clay Matthews, who's so good at rushing the quarterback. And he was actually honest with us. He said, you know, I'm going to mirror Ben Roethlisberger. You think I'm going to come on blitzes, and that'll happen. But because Ben is so good at using his legs, he was hanging around waiting in case Roethlisberger took off.
Yeah, you know, you said you watched a lot of film and you see these other teams and they don't look like they've really scouted Roethlisberger very well, that you've got to be very disciplined. So sometimes he just can't go all out and go after him the way that he would like. He can do more of that when they're in some of their 5-man pressures, however.
So now on 2nd down and 11, timeout taken by the Steelers. They have 2 left. They're down by 11.
Yeah, good catch from Antoine Randall L., who of course threw a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl 5 years ago, but we haven't seen much of Randall L. in the Steelers base offense in the last few weeks. because of the emergence of your guy Emmanuel Sanders, and it didn't look too clever for him going off there, did it?
You know, but he's a tough kid. When he was a junior, Emmanuel hurt his foot against Central Florida and took an injection 5 straight weeks so he could play. If he can play, he'll play. If he's not hurt, if he hasn't torn a ligament or something like that, he'll find a way to get back on the field.
In case you don't know, Sean, that's one of Jeff's guys. He's coached him, so you can't say anything bad about him. What have you seen of Emmanuel Sanders and his play so far this season?
Well, it's easy to see that he had the great